Have you ever found yourself lying in bed at night, wide awake, as thoughts swirl through your mind like a storm you can't calm? Maybe it's replaying a conversation from earlier, worrying about what you said, or going over a dozen what-if scenarios for tomorrow. That relentless hum of overthinking feels like a heavy weight on your chest. It's exhausting, isn't it? Yet somehow, no matter how much you tell yourself to stop, the thoughts just keep coming. Overthinking has a sneaky way of stealing moments from our lives. It clutters the present with worries about the past or fears of the future. It's the quiet voice that tells you, you should have done better, or what if everything goes wrong? It tricks you into believing that spinning those thoughts in your head will somehow solve the problem. But deep down, you know it doesn't. The more you think, the more tangled it all becomes. At first, overthinking might feel harmless, even productive. After all, isn't reflection a good thing? But when those thoughts spiral out of control, they become like quicksand. The harder you try to escape, the deeper you sink. And before you know it, you're caught in a cycle of doubt, anxiety, and second-guessing that drains your energy and steals your peace. Let's take a closer look at this by sharing a story that many of us can relate to. Meet Sarah. She's a hard-working professional who prides herself on being thorough. Sarah likes to have everything planned out, from her daily schedule to her 5-year goals. She's detail-oriented, ambitious, and a bit of a perfectionist. These traits make her great at her job, but they also come with a downside. One evening, after finishing an important presentation at work, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she had made a mistake. She thought back to a slide where she hesitated. Did I forget to include that data point? What if they noticed? What if they think I'm unprepared? These thoughts stuck with her like glue. As the evening wore on, Sarah tried to distract herself by cooking dinner, but while chopping vegetables, her mind wandered back to the meeting. Maybe I should have spoken more confidently. Did I use the right tone? Was that one manager frowning because of something I said? The questions were endless, and each one left her more anxious than the last. Later, Sarah sat down to relax with a book, but the words on the page blurred as her inner dialogue took over. She replayed every moment of the meeting, analyzing it from every angle, imagining all the possible judgments her colleagues could be making about her. The frustration built. Why can't I just let this go? She thought. Why do I always do this to myself? By the time she went to bed, Sarah was mentally drained but couldn't sleep. Her thoughts spun into overdrive, dissecting not only the meeting, but other areas of her life. What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't get that promotion? What if I fail and everyone sees it? It wasn't just about the presentation anymore. It was about her sense of self-worth. The overthinking had grown like a wildfire, consuming everything in its path. When Sarah woke up the next day, she felt like she had been run over by a truck. Her body was heavy, her mind foggy. She snapped at her partner over breakfast for no reason and felt guilty about it immediately after. All this because of a single moment from the day before that her mind had magnified beyond recognition. Sarah's story isn't unique. Whether it's a work-related worry, a personal relationship, or an uncertain future, we've all been in her shoes. Overthinking doesn't discriminate. It can strike anyone, any time. And it often masquerades as something helpful, convincing you that by turning a problem over and over in your mind, you'll find the perfect solution. But here's the truth. Overthinking rarely solves anything. Instead, it makes problems seem bigger and more overwhelming than they actually are. It keeps you stuck, replaying the same thoughts like a broken record. And While your brain is busy running in circles, the present moment slips through your fingers. Think about what overthinking does to your body. Your shoulders tense up, your stomach feels knotted, your heart races as if you're running a marathon, even though you're just sitting on your couch. That's because your mind and body are deeply connected. When your thoughts spiral, your body reacts as though it's facing a real threat. Over time, this chronic stress takes a toll. It affects your sleep, your energy levels, your relationships, and even your health. It's no wonder that overthinking is often linked to anxiety, depression, and burnout. And yet, despite knowing how harmful it is, breaking free from it can feel impossible. At its core, overthinking is about control. It's an attempt to predict and prepare for every possible outcome so that nothing catches you off guard. But life doesn't work that way, does it? The future is uncertain, and no amount of thinking will change that. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more powerless you feel. This need for control often leads to self-criticism. You blame yourself for mistakes, both real and imagined. You replay conversations, dissecting what you should have said or done differently. You hold yourself to impossible standards, convinced that if you just tried harder, you could stop things from going wrong. But all this does is fuel the cycle of overthinking, leaving you trapped in a loop of doubt and regret. Now, here's the good news. While overthinking might feel like an unshakable habit, it's not who you are. It's just a pattern, a learned behavior that can be unlearned. And that's where we can turn to centuries-old wisdom for guidance. There's a path to breaking free from the cycle of overthinking and finding peace within. It's a path that doesn't require you to fight your thoughts or silence them forcefully. Instead, it invites you to observe them, understand them, and let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. In the journey ahead, we'll explore practical ways to quiet the restless mind and cultivate inner calm. These practices aren't about avoiding life's challenges, but about changing how you relate to them. You'll learn how to approach your thoughts with curiosity instead of judgment, how to anchor yourself in the present moment, and how to let go of the need for control. If Sarah's story resonated with you, know that you are not alone. The struggle with overthinking is universal, but so is the ability to overcome it. By taking small, intentional steps, you can begin to reclaim your peace and live with greater clarity and freedom. And as you walk this path, you might just discover that the calm you've been searching for has been within you all along, waiting patiently for you to notice. Now, let's begin. The mind is a restless traveler, always moving, rarely stopping. Thoughts flow like a river after heavy rains, unpredictable and overwhelming. They come without warning, fill every quiet moment, and often lead us down paths we didn't intend to take. This constant mental chatter, this overthinking, can feel like an inescapable cycle, yet it's a part of being human. But what if the key to peace isn't silencing the thoughts, but understanding why they arise and how to approach them differently? Buddhism offers a profound perspective on this restless state of mind, often referred to as the monkey mind. The term paints a vivid picture of a mind that jumps erratically from one thought to another, much like a monkey swinging wildly from branch to branch. This mental restlessness, while natural, becomes a source of suffering when left unchecked. The Buddhist teachings shine a light on this phenomenon, helping us understand the true nature of overthinking and offering pathways to freedom from its grip. The monkey mind thrives on distraction and dissatisfaction. It seeks stimulation, constantly leaping from one thought to the next, rarely settling in the present moment. This restlessness is fueled by craving and aversion, two core forces that drive much of human behavior. Craving pushes us to seek pleasure and avoid pain, while aversion leads us to resist anything uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Together, they create a tug-of-war within the mind, keeping it in a state of constant turmoil. In this state, overthinking becomes a form of avoidance. Instead of being present with what is, the mind clings to the past or projects into the future. It revisits old regrets, replays conversations, or constructs elaborate scenarios that may never happen. This process feels productive at first, as though dissecting every detail will somehow lead to clarity. But over time, it becomes clear that overthinking is a trap, a self-perpetuating cycle that feeds on itself and drains our emotional energy. Buddhism teaches that this mental agitation stems from ignorance, not in the sense of lack of knowledge, but in the misunderstanding of reality. We identify with our thoughts, believing they define who we are. We cling to them, fight them, and try to control them, not realizing that thoughts are simply mental events, like clouds passing through the sky. This mistaken identification amplifies their power, turning harmless mental chatter into a source of anxiety and unease. The key to breaking free lies in observing the monkey mind without judgment. In Buddhist practice, this is often referred to as mindfulness. Instead of getting caught up in thoughts, mindfulness teaches us to watch them as an impartial observer. When a thought arises, we recognize it for what it is, a transient mental phenomenon, and let it pass without attaching to it. This simple act of awareness creates space between the thinker and the thought, allowing us to see the mind's patterns with greater clarity. This practice isn't about stopping thoughts or suppressing them. In fact, trying to force the mind into stillness often has the opposite effect, making the monkey mind even more chaotic. Instead, it's about cultivating a sense of curiosity and compassion toward our mental activity. By gently observing the flow of thoughts, we begin to understand their nature, that they arise, persist for a while, and eventually fade away. This insight reduces their intensity and weakens their hold on us. Another aspect of the monkey mind is its tendency to amplify emotions. A single negative thought can spiral into a flood of self-criticism, worry, or fear. For instance, a minor mistake at work might lead to thoughts like, "I'm so incompetent," or "What if I lose my job?" This emotional escalation is a hallmark of overthinking, and it can quickly snowball into a full-blown mental storm. Buddhism addresses this by encouraging us to stay grounded in the present moment. When the mind starts to wander into hypothetical scenarios or dwell on past mistakes, we gently guide it back to what is happening right now. This could be as simple as focusing on the sensation of the breath, the sounds around us, or the feeling of the ground beneath our feet. Anchoring ourselves in the present interrupts the cycle of overthinking and brings a sense of calm and clarity. The teachings also emphasize the impermanence of all things, including thoughts. In the heat of the moment, a troubling thought can feel overwhelming, as though it will last forever. But just as clouds dissipate and storms pass, so do our thoughts. Recognizing their transient nature helps us approach them with a sense of detachment. Instead of clinging to a thought or pushing it away, we let it come and go, trusting that it will not define us or our experience. Another valuable lesson from Buddhism is the concept of equanimity, a state of mental calmness and balance, regardless of external circumstances. Equanimity allows us to approach the monkey mind with steadiness, even when it's at its most chaotic. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. Rather, it's about cultivating a deep acceptance of whatever arises. When we meet our thoughts with equanimity, they lose their power to disturb us. This process often begins with self-compassion. Overthinking is frequently fueled by harsh self-judgment, a critical inner voice that magnifies mistakes and highlights shortcomings. Buddhism teaches that we're all worthy of kindness, including from ourselves. By treating our own minds with the same patience and compassion we would offer a close friend, we create a space for healing and growth. The restless mind is also influenced by our environment and habits. In a world filled with constant noise, notifications, and demands for our attention, the monkey mind thrives. It jumps from one distraction to the next, never finding a moment's rest. Buddhist teachings encourage us to create an environment of simplicity and mindfulness. This might mean reducing unnecessary distractions, setting aside time for quiet reflection, or engaging in activities that bring a sense of peace and fulfillment. Buddhism also offers a practical tool for taming the monkey mind: meditation. This ancient practice trains the mind to focus and observe without attachment. In meditation, we learn to sit with our thoughts without reacting to them. Over time, this practice strengthens our ability to remain present and reduces the grip of overthinking. It's like training a wild monkey to sit still, not through force, but through patience and gentle guidance. As we deepen our understanding of the monkey mind, we begin to see that it's not our enemy. It's simply a part of being human, a natural function of the brain that seeks to protect us by analyzing, predicting, and planning. The problem arises when this function goes into overdrive, creating unnecessary suffering. By shifting our perspective and learning to work with the monkey mind, we can transform it from a source of stress into a tool for insight and growth. The restless mind is often compared to a candle flame flickering in the wind, easily disturbed and constantly shifting. But when we cultivate mindfulness, equanimity, and compassion, the flame becomes steady, shining brightly without wavering. This steadiness doesn't mean the wind stops blowing. Rather, it means we've learned to remain centered, regardless of the conditions around us. Through Buddhist teachings, we discover that the monkey mind doesn't need to be defeated. It needs to be understood. When we approach it with curiosity, patience, and compassion, it becomes a gateway to deeper self-awareness and inner peace. By embracing these practices, we step onto a path of freedom, not freedom from thoughts, but freedom from their power to control us. The mind, when left unchecked, can feel like a runaway train. Thoughts race, emotions swell, and before you know it, you're caught in a loop of analysis, judgment, and worry. Recognizing the nature of this mental restlessness is the first step to freedom, but understanding alone doesn't bring peace. It's what you do with that understanding that truly matters. This is where mindfulness becomes not just a concept, but a lifeline, a practice that transforms the way you relate to your thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness is not about silencing the mind or forcing calm. It's about learning to be with your thoughts as they are, without clinging to them or pushing them away. It invites you to observe the flow of mental activity with clarity and compassion, creating space between you and the storm inside. This practice doesn't mean you won't have difficult thoughts. Rather, it teaches you not to let those thoughts define your reality or dictate your actions. The heart of mindfulness lies in observing thoughts without judgment. It's a radical departure from the way most of us interact with our minds. Typically, when a thought arises, we react. We latch onto it, analyze it, and often spiral into a web of associated worries. For instance, a fleeting concern about an upcoming deadline might lead to thoughts about failure, fear of judgment, or doubts about your abilities. This cascade can feel overwhelming, but mindfulness interrupts the chain reaction by encouraging you to simply notice the thought without engaging with it. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see your thoughts for what they are, passing phenomena rather than absolute truths. A thought like, "I'm not good enough," might initially feel heavy and all-encompassing, but through mindfulness, you can recognize it as just that, a thought. It doesn't have to hold power over you unless you give it that power. This recognition is liberating because it reminds you that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. One of the most effective ways to cultivate this awareness is through focused attention, often centered on the breath. The breath serves as an anchor, a steady rhythm that grounds you in the present moment. When your mind starts to wander, as it inevitably will, you gently guide it back to the sensation of breathing. This act of returning to the breath again and again trains your mind to notice distractions without being swept away by them. In the beginning, this practice might feel frustrating. The mind resists stillness and clings to its habitual patterns of overthinking. But with patience, you'll start to notice subtle shifts. You might catch yourself in the middle of a thought spiral and choose to pause instead of following it deeper. This pause is powerful. It's where transformation begins. In that space between stimulus and response, you reclaim your freedom. Mindfulness also teaches you to approach your thoughts with curiosity rather than resistance. Instead of labeling a thought as good or bad, you simply observe it. Where does it come from? How does it feel in your body? What emotions accompany it? This process of inquiry softens the edges of difficult thoughts, allowing you to engage with them from a place of openness rather than fear. One of the most profound insights of mindfulness is that thoughts are not permanent. They arise, linger for a while, and eventually fade away. This impermanence is a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy and a source of immense comfort. When you truly grasp that no thought lasts forever, you can approach even the most troubling ones with a sense of calm. They are like waves on the ocean, dynamic and ever-changing, but incapable of altering the ocean's depth and stillness. Through consistent mindfulness practice, you begin to notice patterns in your thinking. Perhaps you tend to dwell on the past or worry excessively about the future. These tendencies, once unconscious, come into clear view. With awareness, you can choose to respond differently. For example, if you catch yourself ruminating on a past mistake, mindfulness allows you to acknowledge the thought without judgment and gently redirect your focus to the present moment. This shift breaks the cycle of overthinking and restores your inner balance. Another valuable aspect of mindfulness is its ability to bring you into direct contact with your present experience. Overthinking thrives on abstraction, on stories, scenarios, and hypotheticals that pull you away from reality. Mindfulness, on the other hand, anchors you in what is real. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of birds outside your window, the rhythm of your own breath. These simple, grounding experiences remind you that peace is always available in the here and now. As you deepen your mindfulness practice, you may encounter resistance from your mind. It might tell you that this isn't working, that you're wasting your time, or that you're not doing it right. These doubts are natural, but they are just more thoughts. Treat them with the same gentle awareness you bring to everything else. Acknowledge their presence, but don't let them derail you. Mindfulness is a practice, not a performance, and every moment of awareness, no matter how small, is a step toward greater peace. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is its emphasis on self-compassion. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you cultivate a kinder relationship with yourself. Instead of berating yourself for having negative thoughts, you learn to hold space for them. This doesn't mean you indulge in self-pity or let unhelpful thoughts take over. It means you meet yourself with the understanding that being human includes moments of struggle and self-doubt. This compassion creates a foundation of inner strength that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Mindfulness also extends beyond formal practice into everyday life. It's not just about sitting in meditation. It's about bringing a mindful presence to all that you do. Whether you're washing dishes, walking to work, or having a conversation, you can practice being fully present. This doesn't require extra time or effort, just a shift in focus. By paying attention to the details of your experience, you transform mundane moments into opportunities for connection and clarity. Another powerful benefit of mindfulness is its impact on emotional regulation. Overthinking often intensifies emotions, turning a passing feeling into a prolonged state of distress. Mindfulness helps you recognize emotions as they arise and gives you the tools to respond skillfully. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause, breathe, and choose a response that aligns with your values. This approach not only reduces emotional reactivity, but also strengthens your ability to stay centered in the face of adversity. Over time, mindfulness reshapes your relationship with uncertainty. Much of overthinking stems from a fear of the unknown, a desire to predict and control outcomes. Mindfulness teaches you to embrace uncertainty with grace, recognizing it as an inherent part of life. This doesn't mean you stop planning or preparing for the future. It means you let go of the need to have all the answers. By accepting the fluid nature of life, you free yourself from the mental strain of trying to control what cannot be controlled. The journey of mindfulness is not linear. There will be moments of clarity and moments of struggle, but each step along the way is meaningful. As you continue to observe your thoughts without judgment, you cultivate a deeper sense of presence, resilience, and inner peace. The mind may always have its restless tendencies, but through mindfulness, you learn to navigate its currents with wisdom and compassion, finding stillness even amidst the chaos. The mind, restless as it is, often drags us into two places where we cannot truly live: the past and the future. These are the spaces where overthinking thrives. Thoughts linger on regrets, missed opportunities, and things that cannot be changed. Or they leap forward to uncertainties, anxieties, and endless what-ifs. What's left behind in this constant tug-of-war is the present moment, the only place where life actually unfolds. Yet, it's often the hardest place to stay. Living in the present moment isn't about ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It's about choosing not to be consumed by them. This practice involves anchoring yourself in what is real, tangible, and happening now. The present is where peace resides, but accessing it requires intentional effort and a willingness to let go of the distractions that pull you away. The first step to anchoring yourself in the present is cultivating awareness of where your mind tends to wander. Often, people don't even realize how much time they spend revisiting the past or worrying about the future. This habitual drifting happens automatically, like a reflex. By becoming more aware of these mental patterns, you gain the power to redirect your focus back to the present. Awareness is the foundation. It's what brings clarity to where your thoughts are taking you. One technique for staying grounded in the present is using your senses as an anchor. The body is always in the now, even when the mind is elsewhere. Tuning into sensations, like the feeling of your breath, the texture of an object in your hand, or the sounds in your environment, pulls you back to the immediacy of your experience. These sensory details are simple, yet powerful reminders that the present moment is rich and alive, even if your thoughts try to convince you otherwise. Another effective practice is identifying when you're caught in the grip of rumination or worry. Dwelling on the past often involves replaying events and wishing they had unfolded differently, but no amount of thinking can rewrite history. Similarly, worrying about the future creates scenarios in your mind that may never come to pass. When you notice these patterns, pause and gently remind yourself that the past is over, the future hasn't arrived, and your power lies in how you engage with this moment. Letting go of the past and future isn't an act of denial. It's an act of acceptance. Acceptance means acknowledging what has happened and what may come without letting it dominate your mind. For example, if you're carrying guilt over a mistake, acceptance allows you to recognize it, learn from it, and move forward. Without this step, you risk becoming stuck in a loop of self-recrimination that takes you further away from the present. Gratitude is another key to grounding yourself in the moment. When you take time to appreciate what is good and present in your life right now, your mind naturally shifts away from what's missing or what could go wrong. Gratitude transforms the present into a place of abundance rather than scarcity. It's as simple as noticing the warmth of the sun on your skin, the comfort of a familiar routine, or the kindness of a small gesture. These moments of gratitude don't require grand events. They're found in the ordinary when you choose to see them. Breathing is one of the most accessible and effective tools for anchoring yourself in the now. Your breath is always with you, steady and rhythmic, providing a natural focus point. When your mind begins to race, turning your attention to the inhale and exhale creates a sense of calm and presence. The act of mindful breathing not only centers you, but also helps regulate the nervous system, reducing the physiological effects of stress and overthinking. Time often feels like an enemy when the mind is consumed with thoughts of the past or future, but reframing your relationship with time can be transformative. Instead of seeing it as something you're running out of or something to control, view time as the unfolding of each present moment. This shift in perspective makes it easier to focus on what's happening now rather than worrying about what's already gone or hasn't yet arrived. Learning to let go of the need for control is another essential element of living in the present. Much of the anxiety about the future comes from the belief that we can, or should, control every outcome. But control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, and trying to manage every detail only adds to mental tension. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way, one moment at a time. Distraction often pulls people out of the present, particularly in today's fast-paced, technology-driven world. Mindlessly scrolling through your phone, overcommitting to tasks, or filling every spare moment with noise can make it difficult to connect with the now. Setting boundaries with distractions, such as scheduling tech-free time or prioritizing meaningful activities, helps create space for mindfulness and presence. The practice of non-attachment, rooted in Buddhist philosophy, is also vital for staying in the present. Non-attachment doesn't mean you stop caring about things. It means you stop clinging to them as if your happiness depends on their outcome. This mindset allows you to engage fully with what's happening without becoming overly invested in what it means or where it will lead. Non-attachment liberates you from the need to control or cling, allowing you to experience the present moment with greater ease. One of the most common barriers to living in the present is the belief that happiness lies somewhere else, either in the future or in a version of the past. This mindset keeps you perpetually dissatisfied, chasing something that feels just out of reach. Buddhism teaches that contentment is found not in what you have or what you achieve, but in how you relate to this moment. By shifting your focus from external circumstances to internal awareness, you uncover a sense of peace that isn't tied to anything outside yourself. Engaging fully in your activities is another way to ground yourself in the present. Whether you're washing dishes, walking, or having a conversation, doing so with your full attention transforms mundane tasks into meaningful experiences. This approach, often called mindfulness in action, trains you to find joy and presence in the simplicity of daily life. Over time, it becomes second nature to approach each moment with attentiveness and care. The present moment is also where creativity and insight flourish. When your mind isn't preoccupied with replaying the past or anticipating the future, it has the freedom to explore new ideas and perspectives. This clarity allows you to approach challenges with a fresh outlook and respond to situations with greater wisdom. Living in the present doesn't just benefit your mental state, it enhances your ability to navigate life with grace and adaptability. Forgiveness is another important aspect of letting go of the past. Holding on to resentment or anger keeps you tethered to events that can no longer be changed. Forgiveness isn't about condoning harm. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying it. By releasing these emotional weights, you create more space for the present moment and the peace it brings. Over time, the practice of living in the present becomes a habit. At first, it may require conscious effort to redirect your focus, but with consistency, it becomes a natural way of being. The mind learns to rest more easily in the now, finding comfort in the simplicity of what is, rather than the complexity of what was or could be. Living in the present moment is not about perfection or always feeling calm. It's about choosing, again and again, to come back to this moment, no matter how many times you drift away. It's about building a relationship with the here and now, one that is rooted in awareness, acceptance, and gratitude. And in doing so, you unlock the peace that has always been within reach, waiting patiently for your attention. The pull of the past and the push of the future often leave us disconnected from the present, but as we explored, anchoring ourselves in the here and now offers a refuge from the storms of overthinking. While mindfulness helps us build this foundation, the root causes of our mental restlessness often run deeper. To truly understand and transform this struggle, we must delve into the teachings that reveal the origins of suffering itself, the Four Noble Truths. These timeless insights hold the key to understanding why overthinking takes hold and how liberation from its grasp is possible. The Four Noble Truths begin with a universal reality. Suffering, or dukkha, is an inevitable part of life. This isn't a bleak perspective, but a truthful acknowledgement of the human condition. Overthinking is one of the many ways this suffering manifests. The mind, restless and unsatisfied, fixates on what it cannot change or control. Thoughts about the past breed regret, while those about the future cultivate anxiety. At the core, this cycle reflects an inability to accept life's imperfections, fueling a sense of unease that only grows as the mind continues its restless spiraling. The second noble truth identifies the root of this suffering, craving or tanha. This isn't limited to physical desires. It extends to our mental patterns. The mind craves clarity, resolution, and certainty. But life rarely provides these in the ways we expect. Overthinking feeds on this craving. The mind clings to thoughts, dissecting and analyzing them, believing that somewhere within lies the solution. This craving creates attachment, making thoughts feel heavier and more significant than they are. Instead of flowing freely, they stick, turning into burdens we carry endlessly. This clinging is a form of resistance. The mind resists the idea that not everything can be solved, that some questions will remain unanswered. Overthinking thrives in this resistance, pulling us deeper into its grip. However, the second noble truth offers clarity. The root of the problem isn't the thoughts themselves, but the mind's attachment to them. When we begin to see this attachment clearly, we can start loosening its hold. The third noble truth is a beacon of hope. Suffering can cease. This cessation doesn't mean life becomes perfect or free from challenges. Rather, it signifies the possibility of freedom from the cycle of craving and attachment. When the mind lets go of its need to control, to know, to fix, it finds peace. Thoughts lose their power to overwhelm, and overthinking no longer dominates our mental landscape. This freedom isn't something distant or unattainable. It begins the moment we choose to let go of the need to wrestle with every thought. The path to this liberation is outlined in the fourth noble truth, the Eightfold Path. This path isn't just a guide for philosophical reflection. It's a practical framework for transforming how we live and think. It begins with right view, the understanding that life is impermanent and interconnected. Overthinking often distorts our perception, making problems seem larger or more dire than they are. Right view helps us see clearly, cutting through the fog of mental noise to focus on what truly matters. Right intention follows, emphasizing the importance of setting a direction for the mind. This isn't about forcing ourselves to stop overthinking, but about nurturing an inner resolve to seek clarity and peace. Intention acts as the compass guiding the mind away from unproductive mental loops and toward constructive, calming practices. It's a gentle but firm reminder of the direction we wish to take. Right speech applies mindfulness to the way we communicate, both internally and externally. Overthinking often spills into our words, leading to over-explaining, rehashing, or speaking impulsively. Practicing right speech means speaking with purpose, clarity, and kindness. This reduces the mental chaos that arises when we replay conversations or worry about how we're perceived. Right action and right livelihood extend this mindfulness to our choices and daily lives. When our actions align with our values, the mind feels more at ease. Overthinking often stems from internal conflict, when what we do doesn't reflect what we believe. Living authentically reduces this dissonance, allowing the mind to rest more easily. Right effort is one of the most transformative elements of the path, especially for those prone to overthinking. It involves consciously redirecting the mind from unwholesome habits to wholesome ones. Overthinking feeds on energy and attention. By intentionally focusing on practices that cultivate peace, such as gratitude or acts of kindness, we weaken the patterns that sustain overthinking. Right mindfulness, as explored earlier, is the practice of observing thoughts without judgment. This awareness helps us step back from the whirlwind of overthinking and see thoughts for what they are: temporary mental events. Mindfulness creates space between the thinker and the thought, making it easier to respond rather than react. Right concentration strengthens this ability to stay present. The scattered energy of overthinking is gathered and focused through meditation and other contemplative practices. Concentration trains the mind to rest in stillness, even in the face of uncertainty. This calm focus acts as a counterbalance to the restless nature of overthinking, providing a stable foundation for peace. Together, the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path provide a profound framework for understanding and overcoming overthinking. They teach us that the mind's tendency to cling, resist, and crave lies at the heart of mental suffering. By shifting our relationship with these habits, we uncover a deeper capacity for clarity and freedom. Overthinking becomes not an insurmountable problem, but an opportunity to practice awareness, letting go, and compassion. This journey isn't about eradicating thoughts or achieving a perfect state of mind. It's about learning to live with the mind as it is, while steadily cultivating the tools to navigate its challenges with wisdom. Each step on this path is an invitation to discover the stillness that exists beneath the surface of the mind, a stillness that has always been there, waiting patiently to be noticed. Recognizing the root causes of overthinking through the lens of the Four Noble Truths opens a door to profound insight. However, understanding alone isn't enough to dissolve the grip of repetitive and negative thoughts. The next step is learning to loosen that grip, to practice non-attachment and cultivate the art of letting go. This isn't about dismissing your thoughts or forcing them away, but about changing how you hold them. Thoughts, like fleeting clouds, are not meant to be clung to. Yet, the mind often treats them as if they were solid and permanent. Learning to release this attachment brings a profound sense of mental freedom. Attachment to thoughts stems from identification. When a thought arises, the mind often assumes ownership. This is my thought, or this thought defines me. Negative thoughts in particular can feel deeply personal, as if they reveal something essential about who we are. This identification fuels overthinking because it creates a need to resolve or control the thought. Letting go begins with recognizing that thoughts are not who you are. They are events in the mind, passing through like waves on an ocean. They have no inherent power beyond what you give them. One of the most significant steps in practicing non-attachment is learning to observe your thoughts as an impartial witness. Instead of engaging with a thought, you simply notice it. Where does it come from? How does it make you feel? Does it linger, or does it fade quickly? This process of observation creates space between you and the thought, weakening its intensity. It's like standing on a riverbank watching the current flow by, rather than jumping into the water and being carried away. Releasing attachment doesn't mean ignoring your thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them without judgment. Often, the act of labeling a thought, "This is a worry," or "This is self-doubt," is enough to reduce its grip. Labeling helps you see the thought for what it is, rather than being swept up in its narrative. This small act of mindfulness interrupts the cycle of overthinking and brings clarity. Negative thoughts often carry an emotional charge, which makes them difficult to let go of. The mind clings to them in an attempt to resolve the accompanying feelings, but this only deepens the attachment. One way to release this emotional charge is through compassionate self-awareness. Instead of criticizing yourself for having negative thoughts, approach them with kindness. Remind yourself that these thoughts are natural, a product of the mind's tendency to overanalyze. Self-compassion softens the inner dialogue, making it easier to let go. Another key aspect of non-attachment is understanding impermanence. No thought, no matter how intense or persistent, lasts forever. When you observe your thoughts with this awareness, you realize that they will pass on their own if you don't feed them with attention. Clinging to a thought prolongs its lifespan, while letting it be allows it to dissolve naturally. This understanding brings a sense of relief, as you no longer feel the need to fight or control your mental patterns. Breathing is a powerful tool for practicing non-attachment. When a thought arises, instead of engaging with it, shift your focus to the sensation of your breath. The steady rhythm of breathing anchors you in the present moment and provides a neutral point of focus. Each exhale becomes an opportunity to release tension and let go of the thought's grip. Over time, this practice trains your mind to respond to thoughts with calm detachment rather than reactive engagement. Letting go also involves surrendering the need for certainty. Many thoughts arise from the mind's desire to predict, control, or understand the future. This craving for certainty creates a cycle of overthinking, as the mind seeks answers that may not exist. Non-attachment means accepting that some questions will remain unanswered and that uncertainty is a natural part of life. This acceptance is not resignation. It's freedom from the exhausting need to control what cannot be controlled. The stories we tell ourselves about our thoughts often reinforce attachment. For example, a fleeting worry might spiral into a larger narrative. I always mess up, or things never work out for me. These narratives give thoughts more weight than they deserve, turning them into self-fulfilling prophecies. Practicing non-attachment involves questioning these stories. Are they true, or are they assumptions based on past experiences? By challenging these narratives, you loosen their hold and create space for new perspectives. Engaging in physical activities that require focus can also help shift your relationship with your thoughts. Activities like yoga, running, or even gardening ground you in your body and the present moment, reducing the mental chatter that fuels attachment. Physical movement channels energy away from overthinking and into action, creating a natural release for pent-up tension. Visualization is another technique for practicing non-attachment. You might picture your thoughts as leaves floating down a stream, clouds drifting across the sky, or balloons rising into the air. These visualizations help you internalize the concept of letting go, reinforcing the idea that thoughts are transient and not something to hold on to. The role of gratitude in releasing attachment cannot be overstated. When you focus on what you're grateful for, your mind shifts away from negative thought patterns. Gratitude helps you see the bigger picture, putting individual thoughts into perspective. This broader view makes it easier to let go of thoughts that no longer serve you, as they feel less significant in the context of your overall well-being. Detaching from thoughts also means letting go of the need for perfection. The mind often clings to ideals, how things should be, how you should feel, or how others should act. These expectations create frustration and disappointment when reality doesn't align with them. Non-attachment involves embracing imperfection and accepting life as it is. This acceptance reduces mental resistance and creates space for peace. Non-attachment requires consistency and patience. The mind has been conditioned to cling to thoughts for years, even decades. Undoing this habit takes time, but each moment of awareness is a step toward freedom. Celebrate small victories, like catching yourself in the act of overthinking and choosing to let go. These moments build confidence and reinforce your ability to release what no longer serves you. This practice is not about detaching from life or becoming indifferent. It's about engaging with life more fully by not being weighed down by the unnecessary. When you let go of attachment to thoughts, you make room for clarity, creativity, and connection. The energy once spent on overthinking can be redirected toward meaningful pursuits and authentic presence. Letting go is a skill, not an endpoint. It's something you return to again and again, refining your ability to release attachment with each practice. Over time, the mind becomes less reactive and more spacious, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. The art of letting go is not about avoiding thoughts, but transforming how you hold them, lightly, with grace, and with the wisdom that they do not define you. In this practice, you uncover the profound freedom that lies in simply allowing thoughts to come and go, like the natural rhythm of the breath. Greater than. Letting go of attachment to thoughts creates space for the mind to breathe, but into that space often comes another challenge, the harsh voice of self-judgment. This inner critic, relentless and unforgiving, thrives in the quiet moments left behind when overthinking fades. It questions your worth, points out your flaws, and keeps you trapped in cycles of doubt. Yet there is an antidote, a balm that soothes this inner harshness: self-compassion. When you learn to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend, you break the cycle of judgment that fuels overthinking. Self-compassion begins with recognizing that suffering is a shared human experience. The critical voice in your mind often convinces you that you're alone in your struggles, amplifying feelings of inadequacy. But every person wrestles with their own doubts and insecurities. This universal truth doesn't diminish your pain, but places it within the broader context of being human. When you acknowledge this connection, you soften the isolating grip of self-judgment and open the door to understanding. The inner critic thrives on perfectionism. It sets impossible standards and chastises you for falling short. When you don't meet its expectations, it tells you that you're not enough, not smart enough, capable enough, or worthy enough. Self-compassion challenges this perfectionism by reminding you that growth comes through imperfection. Mistakes aren't failures, they're opportunities to learn. By reframing setbacks as part of your journey, you disarm the inner critic and allow self-kindness to take its place. One of the most effective ways to cultivate self-compassion is through mindful awareness of your thoughts and emotions. The inner critic often operates in the background, unnoticed but powerful. When you bring it into conscious awareness, you gain the ability to question its validity. Is the criticism fair? Is it constructive? Often you'll find that the harshness of your inner voice is disproportionate to the situation. Recognizing this helps you respond with understanding rather than self-punishment. Language plays a critical role in how you relate to yourself. The words you use in your inner dialogue shape your emotional state and influence your actions. Instead of berating yourself for a perceived failure, try speaking to yourself with kindness. Replace phrases like, "I can't believe I messed up again," with, "I did my best in a tough situation." This shift in tone doesn't ignore reality, but approaches it with gentleness, reducing the mental tension that fuels overthinking. Self-compassion also involves creating boundaries with your inner critic. Just as you wouldn't let someone else speak to you cruelly, you can choose not to tolerate cruelty from yourself. This doesn't mean suppressing critical thoughts, but acknowledging them without giving them control. When the inner critic speaks, respond with a mental boundary. "I hear you, but I'm choosing not to engage with that right now." This simple practice reinforces your authority over your inner dialogue. Your relationship with yourself is shaped by your past experiences, particularly those involving failure or rejection. The inner critic often uses these moments as evidence against your worth, replaying them in your mind to keep you stuck. Self-compassion involves revisiting these memories with a new perspective. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, reflect on what you've learned and how you've grown. This practice transforms painful experiences into sources of wisdom and resilience. Embracing self-compassion doesn't mean ignoring accountability. It's not about letting yourself off the hook or avoiding responsibility. Instead, it's about holding yourself accountable with kindness rather than criticism. When you approach mistakes with curiosity instead of judgment, you create space for improvement without the burden of shame. This shift empowers you to make better choices in the future without being weighed down by regret. The physical body often bears the brunt of self-judgment. Stress from overthinking and self-criticism manifests as tension, fatigue, or even illness. Practicing self-compassion extends to caring for your body as well as your mind. This might mean prioritizing rest, nourishing yourself with healthy food, or engaging in activities that bring you joy. Treating your body with kindness reinforces the message that you are deserving of care and respect. The practice of gratitude intersects beautifully with self-compassion. When you focus on what you appreciate about yourself, you counteract the negativity of the inner critic. Gratitude isn't about ignoring areas for growth, but about balancing self-awareness with self-appreciation. Take time to acknowledge your strengths, achievements, and the qualities that make you unique. This practice builds a foundation of self-worth that helps you navigate challenges with greater confidence. Mindfulness plays a central role in cultivating self-compassion. When you observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you create a safe space for emotional exploration. This non-judgmental awareness allows you to sit with discomfort without adding layers of criticism or shame. Over time, mindfulness teaches you to approach your inner world with curiosity and kindness, strengthening your ability to respond to challenges with resilience. The concept of self-forgiveness is another cornerstone of self-compassion. Holding on to guilt or regret weighs heavily on the mind, keeping you trapped in cycles of self-judgment. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful actions. It means releasing the emotional grip they have on you. By forgiving yourself, you free up mental and emotional energy to focus on growth and healing. Relationships often reflect your relationship with yourself. When you're harsh and critical internally, it's easier to project that negativity onto others. Conversely, cultivating self-compassion enhances your ability to empathize and connect. When you treat yourself with kindness, you model that behavior in your interactions, fostering deeper and more supportive relationships. This interconnectedness reinforces the importance of self-compassion not just for your well-being, but for the well-being of those around you. Self-compassion requires patience and practice. The habits of self-judgment and criticism are deeply ingrained and won't change overnight. Start small with simple acts of kindness toward yourself, a moment of rest, a word of encouragement, or a mindful pause when the inner critic arises. Each act strengthens the habit of self-compassion, gradually replacing the harshness of self-judgment with the warmth of understanding. The benefits of self-compassion extend far beyond easing overthinking. It cultivates a sense of inner peace and stability, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with greater courage. It builds resilience, helping you bounce back from setbacks without losing confidence in your ability to grow. And it deepens your connection to yourself, fostering a relationship of trust and kindness that supports you in every aspect of life. Breaking the cycle of self-judgment isn't about erasing the inner critic entirely, but about transforming your relationship with it. When you meet self-criticism with compassion, you take its power away. You remind yourself that you are human, imperfect, and worthy of kindness, regardless of your flaws. In this space of understanding, overthinking loses its fuel, and you find the freedom to live with greater clarity and purpose. Self-compassion quiets the inner critic and creates space for emotional balance, but sustaining that harmony often feels like walking a tightrope. On one side lies the risk of overthinking, a constant need to analyze and control. On the other, the temptation to disengage entirely, letting apathy take over as a form of self-protection. Both extremes lead to disconnection from yourself, from the present, and from peace. Buddhism offers a way to navigate this tension through the principle of the middle way, a practice of balance that nurtures both clarity and calm without falling into the traps of rigidity or avoidance. The middle way is not about compromise, but alignment. It teaches that neither indulgence nor suppression leads to lasting peace. Overthinking arises when the mind leans too heavily into rational thought, attempting to solve or control everything through relentless analysis. Apathy, on the other hand, is the withdrawal that happens when the effort becomes overwhelming. The middle way invites you to find a space where you engage with life thoughtfully, but without becoming consumed by it, a state where rationality serves you rather than controls you. One of the keys to the middle way is recognizing the interplay between your thoughts and emotions. Overthinking often tries to solve emotional discomfort through logic, as if organizing your thoughts could untangle your feelings. This approach leads to frustration, as thoughts and emotions operate on different levels. The middle way suggests meeting emotions with awareness rather than logic, allowing them to exist without demanding they make sense. When you stop trying to rationalize your feelings and instead sit with them compassionately, you create a balance that softens the mind's tendency to spiral. The principle also challenges the mind's binary thinking. Overthinking thrives on all or nothing perspectives, success or failure, right or wrong, certainty or chaos. These rigid categories narrow your view and amplify stress. The middle way encourages a broader perspective, one that acknowledges nuance and complexity. For example, a setback doesn't mean failure. It's a single moment in a larger journey. This perspective reduces the mental intensity that fuels overthinking and brings a sense of proportion to life's challenges. Balancing rational thought and inner peace requires a conscious relationship with your thoughts. Rationality is a powerful tool, but when left unchecked, it can dominate your mental space. The middle way teaches that thoughts should be used as tools, not masters. Instead of letting your mind race unchecked, practice choosing which thoughts to engage with and which to release. This discernment transforms your thinking from an uncontrollable flood into a steady, manageable stream. Another aspect of the middle way is its focus on intentional action. Overthinking often keeps you stuck in your head, delaying decisions out of fear or uncertainty. Apathy, conversely, leads to inaction because effort feels pointless. The middle way advocates for thoughtful, deliberate steps forward. It's not about knowing the full path before you begin, but about taking one step at a time with mindfulness and purpose. This approach brings clarity to decision-making, reducing the mental clutter of excessive planning or avoidance. Equally important is the practice of letting go of extremes in your expectations. Perfectionism feeds overthinking, while resignation feeds apathy. The middle way teaches that balance lies in embracing imperfection as part of life. Instead of striving for flawlessness, focus on growth and learning. This mindset not only reduces the pressure to overanalyze, but also nurtures self-compassion as you come to accept yourself and your circumstances as works in progress. Engaging fully with the present moment is another cornerstone of the middle way. Overthinking pulls you into the future, while apathy keeps you disconnected from the present. Finding balance means grounding yourself in the here and now. Mindfulness practices, like focusing on your breath or observing your surroundings, help anchor you to what is real and immediate. This presence reduces the mind's tendency to wander into extremes, creating a steadiness that supports both thought and peace. The middle way also encourages you to examine the sources of your thoughts and actions. Overthinking often stems from fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty. Apathy, meanwhile, can arise from hopelessness or exhaustion. By bringing these underlying emotions into awareness, you can address them directly rather than reacting unconsciously. For example, if fear is driving your overthinking, you might explore what you're afraid of losing or failing at. This insight helps you approach the situation with wisdom and intention, rather than letting fear dictate your actions. Practicing gratitude aligns naturally with the middle way, as it shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. Overthinking often fixates on problems, while apathy sees little worth celebrating. Gratitude bridges this gap, reminding you of life's richness and fostering a balanced outlook. It encourages you to engage with life positively, reducing both the mental strain of overanalyzing and the detachment of disengagement. Balance also involves setting healthy boundaries with yourself and others. Overthinking can lead to overcommitment, as the mind convinces you that doing more will solve your worries. Apathy, on the other hand, can result in withdrawal from responsibilities and relationships. The middle way helps you identify what's truly important and where your energy is best spent. Saying no when needed and prioritizing what aligns with your values creates a balance that protects your mental and emotional well-being. Your relationship with time also plays a role in achieving balance. Overthinking often stems from trying to control the future, while apathy can reflect a resignation to time slipping away. The middle way invites you to view time as a flow, engaging fully with each moment without clinging to the past or rushing toward the future. This perspective reduces the urgency and anxiety that fuel overthinking, while restoring a sense of purpose that counters apathy. Forgiveness is another practice that supports balance. Whether it's forgiving yourself for past mistakes or others for perceived wrongs, letting go of resentment lightens the mental load. Overthinking often revisits grievances, trying to rewrite the past, while apathy avoids addressing them altogether. Forgiveness frees you from both extremes, allowing you to move forward with clarity and ease. Physical well-being is deeply connected to mental balance. Overthinking can lead to burnout, while apathy often results in neglect of self-care. The middle way emphasizes the importance of tending to your body with the same mindfulness you bring to your mind. Regular movement, nourishing food, and restful sleep create a foundation of balance that supports both rational thought and emotional peace. Engaging in meaningful activities is another way to cultivate balance. Overthinking often focuses on outcomes, while apathy may question the point of effort. The middle way encourages you to find joy in the process, not just the result. Whether it's a creative project, a hobby, or a conversation, focusing on the experience itself brings a sense of fulfillment that transcends extremes. The middle way ultimately teaches that balance is not static, but dynamic. Life is constantly changing, and so is your mental state. Some days may lean toward overthinking, while others drift into apathy. The practice lies in recognizing these shifts and gently guiding yourself back to center. This ongoing process builds resilience, helping you navigate challenges with a calm and steady mind. In embracing the middle way, you learn that peace isn't found in avoiding difficulty or controlling every detail. It's found in meeting life as it is, with both clarity and compassion. By balancing rational thought within a peace, you create a space where the mind can rest and the heart can thrive. This balance is not an endpoint, but a journey, one that leads to a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. Finding balance through the middle way brings steadiness to the mind. Yet even with this harmony, moments of overwhelm can arise. When life's challenges seem to stretch your inner calm to its limits, there is one tool that is always accessible, always ready to guide you back: your breath. Often overlooked, breathing is not only essential for survival, but a profound bridge between your body and mind. Harnessing its power through mindful practice can transform how you navigate overthinking, stress, and emotional turmoil. The breath is unique in that it is both automatic and voluntary. While it functions without conscious effort, it can also be intentionally controlled. This dual nature makes it an extraordinary anchor for clarity. When overthinking clouds the mind or stress tightens the body, focusing on the breath creates a pathway back to the present moment. Unlike thoughts, which often pull you in many directions, the breath is a constant, steady, neutral, and grounding. Intentional breathing begins with awareness. Often, when the mind is caught in overthinking, the breath becomes shallow and irregular. This shallow breathing reinforces stress, creating a feedback loop that heightens anxiety and mental clutter. By simply noticing the quality of your breath, you take the first step toward breaking this cycle. Are you breathing deeply or barely drawing in air? Is your breath rapid or slow? Awareness alone starts to shift your focus, pulling you away from spiraling thoughts and into the physical reality of the present. Deep breathing is one of the simplest yet most effective techniques for calming the mind. When you take slow, deliberate breaths, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, often referred to as the rest and digest system. This reduces the physiological effects of stress, such as a racing heart or tense muscles, and signals to your mind that it is safe to let go. As your body relaxes, your mind naturally begins to follow. The act of slowing your breath also slows your thoughts. Overthinking thrives on speed, rapid mental loops that feed on one another. Deliberate, measured breathing interrupts this momentum, creating space between one thought and the next. In this space, clarity emerges. You may find that a problem that seemed overwhelming a moment ago now feels more manageable, simply because your mind has been given the chance to pause and reset. Rhythmic breathing is another powerful practice for promoting calm and focus. Techniques like box breathing, where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and hold again for 4 counts, create a steady rhythm that the mind can easily follow. This rhythm acts as a mental metronome, helping to quiet mental chatter and bring your attention to the present. It also fosters a sense of control, reminding you that even in moments of chaos, your breath is something you can regulate. Focusing on the breaths also shifts your perspective on thoughts themselves. When you concentrate on the sensation of breathing, the cool air entering your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, you realize that thoughts Like the breath, come and go. They are transient, impermanent. This realization helps you detach from overthinking as you begin to see thoughts not as fixed realities, but as passing phenomena. Mindful breathing is not limited to sitting in stillness. It can be integrated into daily life, offering a way to stay grounded even in the midst of activity. For example, during a stressful meeting or while navigating a challenging conversation, pausing to take a few deep breaths can help you respond with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. These moments of intentional breathing act as micro-reset points, preventing the buildup of tension that leads to overwhelm. Breathing practices can also be tailored to your emotional state. For instance, if you're feeling anxious, extending the exhale longer than the inhale helps calm the nervous system. Inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6 counts is a simple yet effective way to reduce anxiety. On the other hand, if you're feeling sluggish or unmotivated, focusing on deep, energizing inhales can reinvigorate both body and mind. The adaptability of breathing techniques makes them a versatile tool for maintaining mental and emotional balance. The connection between the breath and the mind is further reinforced through visualization. Pairing your breath with imagery, such as picturing stress leaving your body with each exhale, or imagining a sense of calm entering with each inhale, amplifies the effects of mindful breathing. Visualization engages the mind in a positive way, redirecting its focus from overthinking to the sensations and images associated with relaxation. Breathing also bridges the gap between awareness and acceptance. Overthinking often arises from resistance to uncertainty, discomfort, or imperfection. When you focus on your breath, you practice acceptance in its simplest form, allowing the inhale and exhale to flow naturally without forcing or resisting. This practice translates into a broader mindset of allowing life to unfold as it is, reducing the mental tension that fuels overthinking. Group practices, such as guided breathing exercises or breathwork sessions, can further enhance your connection to this tool. Sharing the experience with others not only deepens your practice, but also fosters a sense of community and support. This collective energy can be particularly grounding during times of heightened stress, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. Consistency is key to unlocking the full potential of mindful breathing. Like any skill, it requires regular practice to become second nature. Setting aside a few minutes each day to focus on your breath builds a habit of mindfulness that carries over into the rest of your life. Over time, you may find that your response to stress becomes less reactive and more intentional, as your practice strengthens the connection between your breath and your sense of calm. Breathing, though simple, is profound in its ability to connect you to the present, quiet the mind, and restore balance. It doesn't require special tools or a specific environment. It's always with you, accessible in every moment. By cultivating a relationship with your breath, you not only interrupt the patterns of overthinking, but also create a foundation for lasting peace and clarity. This quiet power, hidden in something so ordinary, becomes a gateway to extraordinary transformation. The breath has a way of anchoring us in the present, offering clarity and calm amid the storm of thoughts. Yet, while breathing serves as a gateway to stillness, meditation takes this practice further, guiding the mind into a deeper state of peace. Meditation is not about silencing the mind completely or forcing thoughts to disappear. Instead, it's a practice of creating space, a space where thoughts can arise and pass without pulling you into their currents. It's in this space that true stillness is found, even in the busiest of minds. Meditation begins with intention. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to sit in stillness is an act of defiance against chaos. The mind, accustomed to constant stimulation, resists this stillness at first. Thoughts flood in, each one vying for your attention. But the beauty of meditation lies in learning to observe these thoughts without judgment. You don't have to push them away or hold on to them. Instead, you acknowledge their presence and let them drift away, like leaves carried by a gentle stream. Vipassana meditation, one of the oldest Buddhist practices, offers profound insight into the nature of the mind. At its core, Vipassana is about seeing things as they are, not as you want them to be. It begins with focusing on the breath, using it as a point of concentration to steady the mind. As your focus deepens, you expand your awareness to the sensations in your body, the emotions that arise, and the thoughts that pass through your mind. This practice trains you to observe without reacting, breaking the cycle of overthinking by cultivating equanimity. Through Vipassana, you begin to notice patterns in your thoughts. You see how certain triggers lead to specific mental loops, how emotions fuel overthinking, and how attachment to outcomes keeps you trapped. This awareness is transformative. By observing these patterns without judgment, you weaken their grip on your mind. Over time, you develop the ability to respond to life with clarity and calm, rather than reacting impulsively. One of the most powerful aspects of meditation is its ability to create distance between you and your thoughts. Overthinking often feels overwhelming because it blurs the boundary between the thinker and the thought. Meditation re-establishes this boundary, helping you see that thoughts are not facts. They are fleeting mental events. This shift in perspective reduces their intensity and allows you to engage with them more skillfully. Body scanning, another foundational practice in Vipassana, further enhances this awareness. By systematically observing sensations throughout your body, you train your mind to stay present and attuned to the subtleties of your experience. This practice not only grounds you in the moment, but also reveals how tightly the mind and body are connected. For example, you may notice tension in your shoulders during moments of stress, or a fluttering in your chest when anxiety arises. By acknowledging these sensations without resistance, you create space for them to soften and release. Mantra meditation offers another path to stillness. In this practice, you focus on a word, phrase, or sound, repeating it silently or aloud. The repetition of the mantra acts as a focal point, giving your mind something steady to return to when it wanders. This practice is particularly helpful for quieting a busy mind, as the rhythm of the mantra provides a soothing anchor. Over time, the sound of the mantra fades into the background, leaving behind a profound sense of quiet and presence. Meditation also invites you to explore the concept of impermanence on a deeper level. Thoughts and emotions, no matter how intense, are not permanent. They arise, linger for a while, and eventually pass. When you meditate, you experience this truth firsthand, observing the ebb and flow of your mental and emotional states. This awareness helps you detach from overthinking, as you realize that even the most troubling thoughts are temporary and do not define you. The practice of loving-kindness meditation, or metta, complements Vipassana by cultivating compassion and goodwill. In this practice, you direct kind and loving thoughts toward yourself, loved ones, and eventually all beings. This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion quiets the inner critic that often fuels overthinking. It also fosters a sense of connection and empathy, helping you navigate relationships with greater ease and understanding. Meditation is not about achieving perfection or eliminating thoughts entirely. It's about creating a relationship with your mind that is grounded in curiosity and kindness. This approach transforms overthinking from a source of frustration into an opportunity for growth. Each thought becomes a teacher, revealing something about your habits, fears, or desires. With this mindset, even moments of mental restlessness hold value. Consistency is essential to deepening your meditation practice. Just as physical fitness requires regular exercise, mental clarity requires regular meditation. Start with just a few minutes a day, gradually increasing the duration as your practice develops. The key is to approach it with patience and commitment, understanding that progress is not always linear. Some days your mind will feel calm and focused. Other days it will feel restless and scattered. Both experiences are valuable, as they teach you to accept the mind as it is. Meditation also extends beyond the cushion or mat. The stillness you cultivate during formal practice begins to ripple into your daily life. You find yourself responding to challenges with greater composure, listening more deeply in conversations, and noticing the beauty in ordinary moments. This integration of meditation into daily living transforms it from a practice into a way of being. The benefits of meditation are not limited to the mind. Studies have shown that regular meditation reduces stress, improves sleep, lowers blood pressure, and boosts overall well-being. These physical effects reflect the mind-body connection, reminding you that caring for your mental health also supports your physical health. Meditation becomes a holistic practice, nourishing every aspect of your being. Group meditation sessions offer a unique opportunity to deepen your practice. The collective energy of a group can be profoundly grounding, creating a supportive environment where stillness feels more accessible. Sharing the experience with others also fosters a sense of community and connection, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. As you explore meditation, it's important to approach it with an open heart and mind. Let go of expectations about what it should feel like or how quickly you should see results. Meditation is not about achieving a specific state. It's about showing up for yourself, moment by moment. Each breath, each pause, each moment of awareness is a step toward greater clarity and peace. In the stillness of meditation, you rediscover the quiet wisdom that lies beneath the noise of the mind. This wisdom is not something external that you need to seek. It's already within you, waiting to be uncovered. Through meditation, you learn to access this inner stillness even in the midst of life's busyness. It is here, in this quiet space, that you find the freedom to live with clarity, intention, and profound peace. Meditation reveals a profound truth. Beneath the surface of every restless thought lies stillness, waiting to be noticed. Yet, even with this stillness, the mind often clings to thoughts, treating them as permanent fixtures instead of fleeting events. This is where the Buddhist understanding of impermanence becomes transformative. When you truly grasp the transient nature of thoughts, emotions, and experiences, their power over you diminishes. Impermanence doesn't just bring relief, it offers a gateway to freedom from the cycles of overthinking. Impermanence, or anicca, is a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. It teaches that everything, whether a thought, an emotion, or a moment, is in a constant state of change. Nothing remains the same from one moment to the next. Overthinking thrives on the illusion of permanence, convincing you that a single troubling thought or emotion defines your reality. Recognizing impermanence dismantles this illusion, showing you that no thought, no matter how heavy, lasts forever. Thoughts often feel overwhelming because they seem solid, as if they carry weight that must be resolved. Impermanence reminds you that thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. They may linger, but they inevitably drift away. This understanding helps you step back from overthinking, allowing thoughts to come and go without clinging to them or amplifying their intensity. The act of observing a thought, rather than engaging with it, becomes easier when you internalize its temporary nature. Overthinking frequently fixates on the past or the future, replaying old mistakes or projecting fears onto what lies ahead. Impermanence disrupts this pattern by grounding you in the present moment, where thoughts are simply part of the flow of experience. The realization that the past is gone and the future has not yet arrived brings perspective. It helps you see that clinging to what cannot be changed or controlled only creates unnecessary suffering. This perspective extends to emotions, which are often closely tied to overthinking. When you feel anxious, angry, or sad, these emotions can feel endless, as if they will consume you forever. Impermanence reminds you that emotions, like thoughts, are transient. They rise, peak, and fade, following a natural rhythm. Instead of resisting or trying to suppress these feelings, you can acknowledge them with the confidence that they too will pass. The concept of impermanence also helps reduce the intensity of perfectionism, a common driver of overthinking. Perfectionism arises from the belief that outcomes must be flawless and lasting. Recognizing that all achievements, no matter how significant, are temporary, allows you to focus on the process rather than the outcome. This shift in focus reduces the pressure to overanalyze every decision or action, freeing you to engage with life more fully. Impermanence doesn't just apply to thoughts and emotions. It encompasses all aspects of life. Relationships, possessions, and even physical health are subject to change. While this reality may initially seem unsettling, it also brings a profound sense of liberation. When you accept that nothing is permanent, you stop clinging to what is beyond your control. This acceptance creates space for gratitude as you learn to appreciate moments and connections without the fear of losing them. The practice of mindfulness deepens your understanding of impermanence. By staying present and observing the flow of your thoughts and experiences, you witness change in real time. A thought that felt overwhelming a moment ago fades into the background, replaced by another. This direct experience of impermanence reinforces the idea that overthinking is a habit that can be unlearned. It also cultivates patience as you learn to sit with discomfort, knowing it will eventually pass. Visualization can be a powerful tool for embracing impermanence. Picture your thoughts as leaves floating down a river or waves breaking on the shore. These images remind you that thoughts are part of a larger flow, not fixed objects to be held onto. By associating your thoughts with movement and change, you reinforce the understanding that they are temporary and do not define you. Impermanence also offers a way to reframe failure and regret. Overthinking often latches onto past mistakes, replaying them endlessly in an attempt to rewrite history. When you view these experiences through the lens of impermanence, you see them as moments in a larger narrative, not defining chapters. This perspective allows you to learn from your mistakes without being trapped by them, fostering growth and resilience. Detachment is a natural outcome of understanding impermanence. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means relating to your thoughts and emotions with clarity rather than clinging or aversion. When you detach from the need to fix or control every thought, you create space for peace. This detachment is not cold or distant. It's compassionate, rooted in the knowledge that all things are part of a greater flow. Impermanence also encourages you to let go of the need for certainty. Overthinking often stems from a desire to predict or control the future, which is inherently uncertain. Accepting that change is constant allows you to approach uncertainty with curiosity rather than fear. This shift in mindset reduces the mental strain of overanalyzing potential outcomes, replacing it with a sense of openness and trust in the unfolding of life. The teachings of impermanence are not just intellectual, they are deeply experiential. Practices like meditation and mindful breathing help you embody this understanding as you observe the constant rhythm of your breath and the subtle shifts in your body. These practices anchor you in the present, where impermanence is not an abstract concept, but a lived reality. Each breath becomes a reminder that life is a series of moments, each one passing into the next. Embracing impermanence also deepens your capacity for gratitude. When you recognize that every moment is fleeting, you become more present and appreciative of what is here now. This gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, reducing the tendency to overthink problems or shortcomings. Gratitude, rooted in impermanence, is not superficial. It is a profound acknowledgement of the preciousness of each moment. Impermanence teaches you to approach life with flexibility. Overthinking often arises from rigid expectations: how things should be, how people should act, how plans should unfold. When you understand that life is constantly changing, you become more adaptable, meeting each moment as it is rather than resisting it. This adaptability reduces the mental friction that fuels overthinking and creates a sense of ease. Impermanence fosters a deeper connection to the present. When you accept that nothing is permanent, you stop chasing after the future or clinging to the past. Instead, you immerse yourself fully in the here and now, where life is unfolding in real time. This presence is the antidote to overthinking, as it grounds you in the reality of what is, rather than the stories your mind creates. Understanding impermanence doesn't eliminate challenges or prevent difficult thoughts from arising. Instead, it transforms how you relate to them. You learn to meet life's uncertainties with grace, to hold both joy and sorrow lightly, and to move through the world with a sense of freedom and peace. In recognizing the transient nature of all things, you uncover a truth that quiets the mind and opens the heart. Everything changes, and within that change lies the possibility for growth, healing, and renewal. Recognizing the impermanence of thoughts is like discovering a secret path through a dense forest. It allows you to walk with clarity, knowing the thorns and shadows will not last forever. But even with this insight, the sheer volume of mental chatter can overwhelm, leaving you exhausted from navigating countless thoughts that pull you in opposing directions. The solution lies in decluttering your inner world, not silencing it, but refining it. By focusing only on the essential and releasing the unnecessary, you can create space for calm, purpose, and clarity. Mental clutter often arises from the habit of holding on to everything. Thoughts about the past, worries about the future, self-judgments, and external expectations all vie for your attention. The mind becomes like a cluttered desk, filled with so many items that you can't find what you need. To simplify your inner dialogue, the first step is to notice what fills this space. Awareness is key. You must pause and observe the stream of thoughts, asking yourself which ones truly serve your well-being and which ones merely create noise. One effective method of reducing mental clutter is learning to differentiate between what's within your control and what's not. Many thoughts are tied to outcomes you cannot influence. Dwelling on these only drains your energy and heightens your anxiety. By acknowledging that certain things are beyond your reach, you free yourself from the burden of trying to solve every problem. This mental shift allows you to redirect your focus toward actions and thoughts that align with your values and goals. Simplicity in your inner dialogue also comes from clarity in your intentions. When your mind is scattered, it's often because you're trying to juggle too many priorities at once. Setting clear, intentional goals for your thoughts and actions helps reduce this scatter. Ask yourself, what matters most in this moment? What is my purpose here? These questions act as filters, sifting out the unimportant and leaving you with only what truly matters. Reducing mental clutter also involves letting go of repetitive thinking. Overthinking often revolves around the same concerns, replaying them in endless loops. To break this cycle, bring attention to the root of these repetitive thoughts. Are they driven by fear, guilt, or uncertainty? Understanding their origin can help you address the underlying emotion instead of becoming lost in the mental noise it creates. Once you identify the source, you can approach it with compassion and resolve, rather than allowing it to dominate your mental space. Mindfulness plays a vital role in simplifying your inner dialogue. By staying present and focused, you prevent your thoughts from spiraling into the past or future. For example, if you find yourself worrying about an upcoming event, bring your attention back to the task at hand. Use your senses to ground yourself. Notice the texture of your surroundings, the rhythm of your breath, or the sounds around you. This practice pulls you out of the mental clutter and anchors you in the clarity of the present. Decluttering your mind also involves addressing the narratives you create about yourself and your life. The stories you tell yourself often shape your thoughts, and not all of these stories are helpful. For instance, if you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, this belief will fuel a cascade of negative thoughts. Question these narratives. Are they accurate? Are they serving you? Replacing self-defeating stories with empowering ones simplifies your mental landscape and fosters a sense of inner peace. Another powerful technique for reducing mental clutter is journaling. Writing down your thoughts provides a space to release them without judgment. It allows you to sort through your mental noise, identify patterns, and gain perspective. By putting your thoughts on paper, you give them structure, which often makes them feel less overwhelming. Journaling also acts as a release valve, helping you let go of thoughts that no longer serve you. Gratitude is a natural decluttering tool for the mind. When you focus on what you're thankful for, you shift your attention away from what's lacking or troubling you. This perspective helps quiet the mental chatter of dissatisfaction and worry, replacing it with a sense of contentment. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but recognizing the positive aspects of your life amidst them. This balance reduces the mental weight of negativity and fosters a simpler, more focused outlook. Boundaries are crucial for maintaining a clutter-free mind. This includes boundaries with yourself, others, and external influences. Overcommitting or taking on responsibilities that don't align with your priorities adds unnecessary noise to your inner dialogue. Learning to say no, delegate, or step back from obligations that don't serve your well-being creates mental space for what truly matters. These boundaries act as a protective filter, allowing only the most meaningful thoughts and tasks to occupy your mind. Meditation complements these efforts by training the mind to rest in stillness. Through practices like focused attention or body scanning, you learn to observe your thoughts without attaching to them, This observation helps you recognize which thoughts are worth engaging with and which ones can simply be released. Over time, meditation rewires your mind to prioritize calm and clarity, making mental clutter less likely to accumulate. Letting go of comparison is another vital step in simplifying your inner dialogue. Comparing yourself to others fuels thoughts of inadequacy and envy, which serve no constructive purpose. When you focus on your unique journey, you free your mind from the unnecessary weight of external validation. Practicing self-acceptance allows you to approach your thoughts with kindness, reducing the harshness that often accompanies self-criticism. Visualization can also support the process of decluttering your mind. Picture your thoughts as physical objects. Some are light and essential, while others are heavy and unnecessary. As you focus on your breath, imagine setting down the heavy objects one by one until only the light and meaningful ones remain. This imagery reinforces the idea that you have control over which thoughts you carry and which ones you let go. Physical decluttering mirrors mental decluttering. Simplifying your external environment reduces the mental load of visual and physical distractions. A tidy space creates a sense of order that translates into your inner world, making it easier to focus and think clearly. This connection between the external and internal underscores the importance of aligning your surroundings with your intention for simplicity. Cultivating patience is essential for reducing mental clutter. The habit of overthinking or holding on to unnecessary thoughts doesn't disappear overnight. Be gentle with yourself as you work through this process, acknowledging progress even in small steps. Each moment of clarity you create adds to a growing sense of inner peace. Simplifying your inner dialogue is not about erasing thoughts, but about curating them. It's about focusing on what serves you and letting go of what weighs you down. By consistently practicing these methods, you create a mental environment that is clear, purposeful, and aligned with your well-being. This clarity becomes the foundation for navigating life's complexities with grace and ease, allowing you to move through the world with a mind that feels lighter, calmer, and more focused. Letting go of mental clutter provides clarity, but what if the patterns of overthinking that linger in your mind are not just random? What if they are echoes of past actions, choices, and intentions? This is where the concept of karma steps in, offering a profound explanation for how your thoughts take shape and how they can be transformed. Karma is not merely about consequences. It's a mirror reflecting the energy you put into the world and the cycles you create within your mind. Understanding karma sheds light on the roots of overthinking and reveals how mindful actions can reshape your thought patterns, leading to greater peace and balance. Karma, often misunderstood as a system of rewards and punishments, is more nuanced. It is the natural law of cause and effect, where every thought, word, and action carries an energy that influences your inner and outer worlds. Overthinking is a reflection of these karmic cycles. Each repetitive thought feeds into a loop, reinforcing patterns that dictate how you perceive and respond to the world. For example, a single instance of self-doubt, if dwelled upon, can grow into a habitual pattern of negative self-talk, shaping how you approach challenges. The first step to breaking free from karmic thought patterns is recognizing that your current mental state is not fixed. Just as past actions and thoughts have shaped the present, the actions and thoughts you cultivate now will shape the future. This perspective is empowering as it shifts the narrative from feeling trapped in overthinking to understanding that you have the ability to influence and transform these patterns. Your mind is not a static entity. It is a dynamic field shaped by intention and attention. Mindful awareness plays a critical role in understanding and reshaping karma. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you start to see the origins of certain patterns. Perhaps overthinking arises from fear instilled by past experiences, or from a tendency to seek control in uncertain situations. By bringing these patterns into awareness, you create space to choose a different response. Mindfulness interrupts the automatic nature of karmic cycles, allowing you to act intentionally rather than reactively. Intentional action is the cornerstone of reshaping karma. If overthinking is fueled by repetitive, unproductive thoughts, then introducing purposeful, positive actions into your daily life can disrupt this cycle. For instance, if you notice that you often dwell on what others think of you, you can counteract this by practicing self-affirmation or engaging in acts of kindness that shift your focus outward. These actions plant new seeds of karma, gradually replacing old patterns with healthier ones. The energy of your intentions also shapes your mental patterns. When your actions are rooted in negativity, such as acting out of anger, resentment, or fear, they reinforce similar energy within your mind. Conversely, actions grounded in compassion, patience, and understanding cultivate a sense of peace. Over time, these intentional shifts in how you approach situations begin to rewire your thought habits. You may find that the once dominant voices of self-doubt or worry become quieter as they are replaced by thoughts that align with your higher intentions. Karma also teaches the importance of responsibility. Overthinking often involves assigning blame to yourself, others, or external circumstances. While certain situations may indeed be beyond your control, karma reminds you that you're always responsible for your response. Taking responsibility for your thoughts and actions empowers you to change the energy you contribute to your mental space. Instead of feeling victimized by overthinking, you recognize that you have the ability to steer your mind toward clarity and positivity. Practicing gratitude aligns seamlessly with karmic principles and helps reshape thought patterns. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, breaking the cycle of overthinking fueled by dissatisfaction or longing. When you consciously direct your thoughts toward what you appreciate, you generate positive energy that reinforces a mindset of contentment. This gratitude doesn't just affect the present moment. It becomes a karmic investment in a calmer, more balanced mental state. Karma also illuminates the interconnectedness of thoughts, actions, and outcomes. Overthinking often feels isolating, as if you are trapped alone in a maze of thoughts. But understanding karma reveals that your mental energy is part of a larger web. The way you treat yourself, others, and your environment creates ripples that extend far beyond the immediate moment. Recognizing this interconnectedness encourages you to cultivate thoughts and actions that contribute positively not only to your own mind, but also to the world around you. One way to consciously work with karma is through acts of service. When you step out of your own mental loops to help someone else, you break the cycle of self-centered overthinking. Acts of service create positive karmic energy, not just for others, but for yourself as well. They remind you that your worth is not tied to your thoughts or fears, but to your ability to contribute meaningfully to the world. Meditation deepens your understanding of karma and its impact on your thought patterns. In stillness, you can observe the subtle interplay between your thoughts and emotions, noticing how certain mental states give rise to specific reactions. This awareness allows you to consciously redirect your energy toward more constructive paths. For instance, if you notice that frustration often leads to harsh self-talk, you can practice responding with patience instead. These small shifts, repeated consistently, create profound changes in your karmic patterns over time. Detachment is another essential element of working with karma. Overthinking often stems from attachment to specific outcomes, relationships, or self-constructed identities. Karma teaches that attachment creates suffering because it ties your mental energy to things that are inherently impermanent. By practicing detachment, you free yourself from the weight of these attachments, allowing your thoughts to flow more freely. This doesn't mean indifference. It means engaging with life fully while remaining open to its natural ebb and flow. Self-reflection is a practical tool for exploring how karma influences your thought patterns. Taking time to journal or meditate on your actions and intentions helps you identify where your energy is being directed. Are you investing your thoughts in worry or gratitude? Are your actions reinforcing overthinking, or are they fostering clarity? This process of reflection enables you to adjust your focus, ensuring that your mental and emotional energy aligns with the outcomes you wish to create. The concept of karma also reminds you of the power of consistency. Small, mindful actions repeated over time have a cumulative effect on your thought patterns. Just as negative habits can reinforce overthinking, positive habits can gradually replace it with a sense of ease and clarity. This process requires patience, as the shifts may be subtle at first. However, each intentional choice you make adds to a growing momentum of positive change. Understanding karma brings a sense of accountability to your mental habits, but it also offers freedom. When you realize that you have the ability to reshape your thought patterns, you step out of the role of victim and into the role of creator. You are no longer at the mercy of overthinking. You are actively shaping the energy of your mind and your life. This empowerment fosters a sense of hope and motivation to continue cultivating positive thoughts and actions. Karma teaches that change begins within. The patterns of overthinking that once seemed insurmountable are not fixed. They are the result of past energy that can be transformed through conscious effort. Each moment presents an opportunity to plant seeds of mindfulness, compassion, and clarity. As you nurture these seeds, the cycles of overthinking gradually give way to cycles of peace and balance. This transformation is not just a mental shift. It is a deep, karmic realignment that radiates through every aspect of your being. Understanding karma reveals how our actions and intentions shape our thoughts, yet often the most potent source of mental turmoil stems not from the past, but from our attachment to what might happen in the future. Anxiety about outcomes, the need to control, and the fear of failure all bind us to a cycle of overthinking, robbing us of peace in the present. The key to breaking free from this lies in practicing detachment, not indifference, but a mindful release of the need to control what is ultimately beyond our grasp. Detachment begins with a shift in perspective. Much of overthinking arises from the illusion that we can, or must, control every aspect of our lives. We plan, predict, and analyze, believing that if we just think enough, we can secure the perfect outcome. However, life is unpredictable by nature, and clinging to specific expectations often leads to disappointment and frustration. Detachment invites you to release the need for certainty and embrace the flow of life as it unfolds. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means pursuing them with effort and care, while letting go of the idea that your worth or happiness depends on the result. At the heart of detachment is the understanding that outcomes are shaped by countless factors, many of which are beyond your control. You may influence a situation with your actions and intentions, but you cannot dictate every variable that contributes to its result. Recognizing this truth brings a sense of freedom. When you accept that not everything is within your power, you no longer waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, you focus on what is within your reach, your choices, your attitude, and your effort. Practicing detachment requires cultivating a sense of trust. Trust in yourself, in the process, and in the natural rhythm of life. Anxiety about the future often stems from a lack of trust, a belief that things will go wrong unless you micromanage every detail. Detachment asks you to let go of this fear and trust that, even if things don't unfold as you hope, you have the resilience and wisdom to adapt. Trusting yourself means knowing that your value is not tied to any single outcome, and trusting life means embracing its inherent unpredictability with grace. Detachment also involves redefining success. When your sense of accomplishment is tied solely to external outcomes, you set yourself up for a cycle of overthinking and dissatisfaction. True success lies in the effort you put forth, not in the result. By focusing on the process rather than the end goal, you shift your attention to what truly matters: your growth, learning, and integrity. This shift not only reduces anxiety about the future, but also allows you to find fulfillment in the present moment, regardless of the outcome. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in practicing detachment. The mind often races into the future, constructing scenarios and feeding fears about what might happen. Mindfulness anchors you in the present, reminding you that the future exists only as a projection of your thoughts. By bringing your focus back to the here and now, you quiet the mental noise of overthinking and create space for clarity. With this clarity, you can approach the future with intention rather than fear. One way to cultivate detachment is by recognizing the impermanence of outcomes. No result, whether success or failure, lasts forever. Achievements fade, setbacks heal, and life moves forward. When you understand that outcomes are temporary, you stop clinging to them as if they define your worth. This perspective helps you approach life with a sense of balance, neither overly elated by success nor overly disheartened by failure. Detachment from outcomes allows you to navigate life's highs and lows with equanimity. Another practice that supports detachment is gratitude. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack or hope to gain, you reduce the mental fixation on future uncertainties. Gratitude shifts your attention from what might happen to what is already here, fostering a sense of contentment and reducing the urgency to control outcomes. This doesn't mean ignoring your goals or aspirations. It means approaching them from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Detachment also requires letting go of the ego's need for validation. Overthinking about the future often stems from a desire to prove yourself, to others, to society, or even to yourself. This need for external validation binds you to specific outcomes, as you view them as evidence of your worth. Practicing detachment means recognizing that your value is intrinsic and does not depend on what you achieve or how others perceive you. This realization liberates you from the pressure to overthink every decision or scenario. A key element of detachment is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance or denial. When you accept that life is uncertain and outcomes are not guaranteed, You free yourself from the mental struggle of trying to force things to go your way. Acceptance creates a sense of peace, allowing you to engage with life fully without being weighed down by fear of the future. Intentional actions align with the practice of detachment. When you act with mindfulness and purpose, you invest your energy in the present rather than the outcome. For example, if you're preparing for a presentation, focus on doing your best to communicate effectively rather than fixating on how others might respond. This approach not only reduces anxiety, but also enhances your performance, as your attention is directed toward the task at hand rather than the pressure of future results. Detachment is further supported by self-compassion. Overthinking about the future often involves harsh self-criticism, as you anticipate what could go wrong and blame yourself for potential failures. Self-compassion reminds you that mistakes and setbacks are part of being human. By treating yourself with kindness and understanding, you soften the intensity of overthinking and create a mental space where detachment can flourish. Visualization can help reinforce the practice of detachment. Picture your goals and aspirations as seeds you plant in a garden. You water them, provide sunlight, and tend to the soil, but you cannot control how quickly they grow or the exact shape they will take. This imagery reminds you that while your efforts are essential, the outcome is shaped by many factors beyond your control. By focusing on nurturing the process, you let go of the need to control the result. Detachment is not about apathy or lack of care. It is about engaging with life fully while releasing the need to cling to specific outcomes. This balance allows you to move through the world with a sense of freedom and resilience. You remain committed to your goals and values, but are not defined or confined by the results. Detachment empowers you to live with purpose and intention, unburdened by the weight of overthinking the future. Through detachment, you learn to meet life's uncertainties with openness and grace. You discover that true freedom comes not from controlling the outcome, but from embracing the journey. This practice transforms anxiety into trust, fear into acceptance, and overthinking into clarity, allowing you to experience the richness of life in every moment. Letting go of attachment to outcomes offers a profound freedom, a way to engage with life wholeheartedly while releasing the need to control every detail. Yet, as the mind learns to let go of its fixation on the future, a question arises. What can take its place? The answer lies in gratitude. Gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling, but a practice that redirects your energy from what is lacking to what is present. It quiets the overactive mind by anchoring it in appreciation, creating a sense of peace that displaces worry and mental clutter. Gratitude shifts your mental focus from problems to blessings. The overactive mind thrives on identifying what's missing, what could go wrong, or what hasn't been achieved. Gratitude interrupts this pattern by drawing your attention to what is already good and whole in your life. It's a conscious decision to notice the small joys, a smile, a kind gesture, the warmth of sunlight that often go overlooked in the rush of daily life. This shift in perspective doesn't erase challenges, but reframes them within a broader context of abundance and resilience. The practice of gratitude also counteracts the negativity bias of the mind. The human brain is wired to focus on potential threats and problems as a survival mechanism. While this trait was once essential for physical safety, it often manifests today as chronic overthinking and worry. Gratitude rewires this tendency by training your mind to seek out the positive. Over time, this practice creates a mental habit of looking for what's right, rather than fixating on what's wrong, quieting the constant chatter of fear and doubt. Expressing gratitude strengthens this shift. When you actively articulate what you're thankful for, whether through journaling, prayer, or conversation, you solidify the practice in your mind. Writing down 3 things you appreciate each day may seem simple, but it has a profound effect. It forces you to pause and reflect, turning your focus inward to the good that already exists. This daily reflection creates a mental reservoir of positive experiences to draw from, even in challenging times. Gratitude also nurtures a sense of connection. Overthinking often isolates you, trapping you in your own worries and fears. Gratitude, however, broadens your awareness, reminding you of the people, experiences, and circumstances that support and enrich your life. It fosters a sense of interdependence, showing you that you are not alone and that the world is filled with sources of kindness and support. This sense of connection reduces the loneliness and anxiety that fuel overthinking. Practicing gratitude requires presence. The overactive mind tends to dwell on the past or anticipate the future, pulling you away from the now. Gratitude grounds you in the present moment by focusing your attention on what is real and immediate. For example, when you pause to appreciate the taste of your morning coffee or the sound of birds outside your window, you pull your mind back from its restless wandering. These moments of presence create mental stillness, offering a reprieve from the constant stream of thoughts. Gratitude is also deeply linked to acceptance. Overthinking often arises from a desire to change or control circumstances, leading to frustration when things don't go as planned. Gratitude teaches you to appreciate what is, even when it isn't perfect. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or giving up on aspirations. It means finding value in the journey, not just the destination. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you cultivate contentment and reduce the mental strain of striving. The relationship between gratitude and resilience is powerful. When faced with difficulties, the mind tends to spiral into worry, amplifying the problem. Gratitude acts as a stabilizer, helping you recognize the resources and strengths that can help you navigate challenges. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what can be done, empowering you to face obstacles with confidence and clarity. This perspective quiets the fear-driven loops of overthinking and replaces them with constructive thought patterns. Gratitude is not limited to the extraordinary. It thrives in the ordinary. The overactive mind often overlooks simple joys, fixating instead on grand achievements or distant goals. Gratitude reminds you to find beauty and meaning in the small moments, the comfort of a favorite chair, the laughter of a friend, the rhythm of your breath. By valuing these everyday experiences, you create a steady foundation of appreciation that counters the restlessness of overthinking. Practicing gratitude for yourself is equally important. Overthinking often involves harsh self-criticism, replaying perceived mistakes, or questioning your worth. Gratitude toward yourself means acknowledging your efforts, strengths, and growth. It's recognizing that despite challenges, you are doing your best. This self-directed gratitude softens the inner critic, creating a more compassionate inner dialogue that quiets unnecessary mental noise. Gratitude also shifts your relationship with time. Overthinking tends to distort time, making past regrets and future fears feel more immediate than they are. Gratitude anchors you in the present, helping you see each moment as a gift rather than a problem to solve. This perspective reduces the urgency and anxiety that come with trying to control time, allowing you to experience life with greater ease and flow. One way to deepen your gratitude practice is through mindful breathing. With each inhale, you can reflect on something you're thankful for, and with each exhale, you can release tension or worry. This simple practice combines the grounding effects of mindfulness with the transformative power of gratitude, creating a sense of calm and balance. It's a tangible reminder that gratitude is not just a thought, but an experience that can be felt in the body and mind. The benefits of gratitude extend beyond the mind, influencing your relationships as well. Expressing appreciation to others strengthens bonds and fosters goodwill, creating a positive cycle of connection and support. When you acknowledge the kindness of others, you reinforce their sense of value, which often leads to more acts of kindness. This exchange of gratitude builds a network of mutual care that reduces the loneliness and isolation that fuel overthinking. Gratitude also encourages simplicity. The overactive mind often complicates life by seeking more success, more validation, more control. Gratitude reminds you that less can be more. It helps you focus on what truly matters, clearing away the mental clutter of unnecessary desires. This simplicity creates space for clarity and peace, reducing the mental strain of constantly seeking what you already have in abundance. Visualization can enhance your gratitude practice. Picture your thoughts as seeds and gratitude as the sunlight and water that help them grow. By focusing on what you appreciate, you nourish the positive aspects of your mind, allowing them to flourish. This visualization reinforces the idea that gratitude is an active process, one that requires intention and care. Gratitude transforms your perspective on challenges. Instead of seeing difficulties as purely negative, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and learning. This shift doesn't minimize the pain or effort involved, but frames it within a broader context of appreciation. Even in hardship, there are lessons, strengths, and moments of grace to be found. Recognizing these helps quiet the mind's tendency to dwell on the negative and fosters a sense of hope. Through gratitude, you learn to quiet the overactive mind, not by silencing it, but by redirecting it. You cultivate a mindset that values presence over perfection, connection over isolation, and appreciation over worry. This practice doesn't just change your thoughts, it changes how you experience life, bringing a sense of peace and fulfillment that overthinking could never provide. Gratitude has a way of softening the sharp edges of the mind, redirecting its restless energy toward appreciation and calm. Yet, even with a focus on what is good and present, the reality is that negative thoughts still arise. They creep in during moments of doubt, challenge, or discomfort, casting a shadow over your clarity. But negative thoughts are not enemies to be fought. They are signals, opportunities to grow, and teachers in disguise. The key is not to suppress or escape them, but to meet them with wisdom, compassion, and the tools to transform their weight into lightness. Negative thoughts often feel overwhelming because they are tied to deeper layers of suffering. Whether rooted in fear, anger, or regret, they pull you into a loop of emotional distress. The first step in dealing with these thoughts is to recognize their presence without judgment. Often, the initial reaction to a negative thought is resistance or denial, which only strengthens its hold. Instead, by acknowledging the thought as it is, a fleeting mental event, you create space between yourself and the negativity. This space allows you to observe without being consumed, breaking the cycle of overthinking and emotional reactivity. Mindfulness is essential in this process. By bringing your attention to the present moment, you disrupt the patterns of rumination that fuel negative thoughts. When you focus on your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you, you anchor yourself in reality rather than the stories your mind creates. Mindfulness does not eliminate negative thoughts, but it changes your relationship with them. You learn to see them as passing clouds rather than permanent truths, reducing their power to shape your emotions and actions. Reframing is another powerful tool for transforming negative thoughts. Often, negativity arises from rigid thinking, expectations that life should unfold in a specific way, or that mistakes define your worth. Reframing involves shifting your perspective to see challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as insurmountable obstacles. For example, a thought like, "I failed and now everything is ruined," can be reframed as, "This experience taught me what doesn't work and how I can improve." This subtle shift in language alters the emotional weight of the thought, making it less daunting and more constructive. Self-compassion is critical when dealing with negative thoughts. The inner critic, which often amplifies negativity, thrives on harsh self-judgment. Practicing self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a close friend. Instead of berating yourself for having negative thoughts, acknowledge that they are a natural part of the human experience. Speak to yourself with gentleness, reminding yourself that it's okay to struggle and that you have the strength to navigate these moments. This practice softens the harshness of negativity, creating a mental environment where growth can take root. The Buddhist concept of dukkha, or suffering, provides a framework for understanding negative thoughts. Suffering is an inherent part of life, but it is not fixed or inescapable. Negative thoughts are a form of mental suffering, and their intensity often arises from attachment to ideals, identities, or desires that feel threatened. By practicing non-attachment, you release the hold these thoughts have over you. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or dismissing your struggles. It means approaching them with equanimity, recognizing that they are transient and do not define you. Meditation deepens this understanding. In meditation, you sit with your thoughts, observing them without clinging or pushing them away. Over time, this practice reveals the impermanence of even the most intense negative emotions. You witness how they arise, peak, and fade, much like waves in the ocean. This experiential understanding reduces the fear and urgency often tied to negativity, allowing you to meet it with calm and clarity. Through meditation, you cultivate a mind that is both open and resilient, capable of holding even difficult thoughts without being overwhelmed. Gratitude and negativity cannot coexist fully in the same mental space. While negative thoughts often focus on what is lacking, gratitude redirects your attention to what is present and fulfilling. When negativity arises, consciously shifting your focus to something you are thankful for can neutralize its impact. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative thought, but balancing it with an awareness of the positive. For instance, if a thought about failure arises, you might counter it with gratitude for the courage it took to try. This balance fosters perspective, reducing the dominance of negativity. Journaling is another effective practice for confronting and reframing negative thoughts. Writing down your thoughts provides a tangible way to process them, turning abstract mental loops into structured reflections. As you write, you may notice patterns or triggers that fuel your negativity. This awareness allows you to address these underlying factors rather than simply reacting to the surface-level thought. Journaling also provides a safe space to express emotions without fear of judgment, helping you release their intensity and gain clarity. Compassion toward others plays a surprising role in dealing with negative thoughts. Negativity often narrows your focus, centering your attention on personal struggles and amplifying their weight. Acts of compassion, whether through helping someone, offering kindness, or simply listening, shift your perspective outward. They remind you of the interconnectedness of life and the shared nature of human challenges. This outward focus reduces the intensity of self-directed negativity, creating a sense of purpose and connection that uplifts your mind. Visualization can further support the transformation of negative thoughts. Picture the thought as a dark stone, heavy and burdensome. With each breath, imagine light filling the stone, softening its edges and making it lighter. Over time, it dissolves into the air, leaving behind a sense of release. This imagery reinforces the idea that negativity is not permanent and that you have the power to transform its energy into something more constructive. Engaging in meaningful activities also quiets negative thoughts. Overthinking often thrives in idle moments, where the mind has space to dwell on fears or regrets. By immersing yourself in activities that align with your values or bring you joy, you redirect your mental energy towards something fulfilling. Whether it's creating art, spending time in nature, or engaging in a hobby, these moments of engagement create mental clarity and reduce the grip of negativity. Detachment from outcomes plays a significant role in transforming negative thoughts. Many negative patterns arise from the fear of failure or disappointment. When you detach from the need for specific results, you free yourself from this fear. Instead, you focus on the effort and intention behind your actions, recognizing that the journey holds value regardless of the outcome. This mindset reduces the pressure to overanalyze and diminishes the mental space negativity occupies. Patience is essential in this process. Negative thought patterns do not change overnight. They are habits that have been reinforced over time. Meeting them with patience means allowing yourself the space to grow and acknowledging that transformation is a gradual journey. Each small step you take, whether through mindfulness, reframing, or self-compassion, adds to a cumulative shift in your mental landscape. With time and consistency, you cultivate a mind that not only confronts negativity, but transforms it into a source of strength and wisdom. In embracing these practices, you learn that negative thoughts are not roadblocks, but stepping stones. They reveal areas of growth, deepen your understanding of yourself, and strengthen your resilience. Through mindfulness, compassion, and intentional action, you turn the weight of negativity into a foundation for peace and self-awareness, quieting the overactive mind and allowing space for clarity and light. Negative thoughts, though challenging, can be transformed into opportunities for growth, teaching resilience and compassion when approached with mindfulness. Yet, to maintain this mental clarity and prevent the cycle of overthinking from re-establishing itself, a structured approach is essential. This is where the Eightfold Path serves as a guiding framework. Rooted in wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline, it provides a comprehensive method to reduce mental clutter and foster lasting peace. The Eightfold Path begins with right understanding, the foundation for mental clarity. This principle emphasizes seeing things as they truly are, free from distortions created by fear, desire, or ignorance. Overthinking often arises from misinterpretations or exaggerated concerns about reality. When you cultivate right understanding, you develop the ability to discern between what is true and what is simply a construct of the mind. This clarity reduces unnecessary mental noise, allowing you to approach life's challenges with a grounded and balanced perspective. Right intention follows, shaping your mental energy toward harmony and away from destructive patterns. Intentions rooted in goodwill, compassion, and letting go prevent the mind from falling into cycles of negativity or obsession. For example, an intention to act with kindness redirects mental energy from blame or judgment toward understanding and connection. This shift in focus quiets overthinking by aligning your thoughts with constructive purposes, giving the mind a clear and positive direction. Right speech emphasizes mindfulness in communication, which directly impacts the mental dialogue you maintain within yourself. The practice of right speech involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and purposefully, avoiding harmful words. Internally, this translates to replacing harsh self-criticism with encouraging and truthful thoughts. Overthinking often thrives on a stream of negative self-talk, but when your inner dialogue reflects the principles of right speech, it fosters a sense of peace and self-respect. Right action focuses on ethical behavior, reminding you to act in ways that align with your values and contribute to the well-being of others. Overthinking frequently stems from guilt or regret over past actions. But when your actions are guided by integrity, you reduce the mental strain caused by conflicting thoughts or remorse. Acting with intention and care creates a sense of inner stability, helping to quiet the restless mind and replace overthinking with purposeful focus. Right livelihood emphasizes earning a living in ways that do not harm others or compromise your principles. A misaligned livelihood can lead to internal conflict, as your actions may clash with your values. This dissonance fuels overthinking as the mind grapples with unresolved ethical concerns. Choosing a livelihood that reflects your commitment to integrity and compassion brings congruence between your actions and beliefs, fostering mental peace and clarity. Right effort is about directing your energy wisely, ensuring that your mental focus supports growth rather than perpetuating harm. Overthinking often wastes mental energy on repetitive, unproductive thoughts. Right effort encourages you to abandon harmful thought patterns while cultivating those that promote well-being. This involves consistently redirecting your focus toward what serves your highest good, creating a mental environment that supports clarity and resilience. Right mindfulness builds on this by cultivating awareness of the present moment. Overthinking frequently pulls you into the past or the future, leaving you disconnected from the reality of now. Mindfulness brings you back to the present, helping you notice your thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. This practice teaches you to observe your mental processes with curiosity and detachment, reducing the power of overthinking and promoting a state of inner calm. Right concentration refines this awareness further, training the mind to maintain focus and stability. Overthinking thrives on a scattered mind, jumping from one worry to another. Right concentration helps you develop the mental discipline to remain centered on what truly matters, filtering out distractions and unnecessary concerns. This focused attention enhances your ability to engage with life meaningfully, free from the mental clutter that fuels anxiety and doubt. Each element of the Eightfold Path reinforces the others, creating a holistic approach to reducing overthinking and cultivating mental clarity. For example, right understanding informs right intention, which in turn shapes your speech, actions, and livelihood. As your external actions align with these principles, your internal mental processes become more harmonious, reducing the internal conflict that often leads to overthinking. The interconnectedness of the Eightfold Path also fosters balance. Overthinking often arises from extremes, excessive control, perfectionism, or avoidance. The path encourages a middle way, helping you navigate life with equilibrium. This balance prevents the mind from becoming overly fixated on any single aspect of experience, allowing you to approach life's challenges with flexibility and grace. The practice of the Eightfold Path also strengthens self-awareness. Overthinking often occurs when the mind operates on autopilot, driven by habits and assumptions. By consciously applying the principles of the path, you become more attuned to your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This awareness allows you to identify and interrupt patterns of overthinking, replacing them with intentional and constructive mental habits. Compassion is a recurring theme throughout the path, offering a powerful antidote to the self-critical tendencies of overthinking. Right intention, speech, and action all emphasize compassion toward yourself and others. This practice creates a mental atmosphere of kindness where overthinking is less likely to thrive. Compassion softens the intensity of negative thoughts, reminding you that imperfection is part of the human experience and that growth often emerges from mistakes. The Eightfold Path also emphasizes the importance of consistency. Overthinking often arises from a sense of urgency or the need for immediate answers. The path teaches that clarity and peace are cultivated over time through steady and deliberate practice. Each small step you take in aligning your thoughts and actions with these principles contributes to a gradual transformation of your mental landscape, replacing restlessness with calm. Engaging with the path fosters a sense of purpose. Overthinking often leaves the mind feeling scattered and directionless as it fixates on problems without clear solutions. The path provides a framework that channels your mental energy toward meaningful goals, creating a sense of alignment and intention. This sense of purpose quiets the noise of overthinking, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. The path also deepens your connection to the present moment. Overthinking pulls you into hypothetical scenarios or unresolved issues, leaving you disconnected from the richness of now. By practicing mindfulness and concentration, you train your mind to stay anchored in the present, where peace and clarity naturally arise. This presence reduces the mental clutter that fuels overthinking, fostering a sense of simplicity and ease. Ultimately, the Eightfold Path offers more than a guide to mental clarity. It is a way of life. It invites you to engage with the world authentically, aligning your thoughts, actions, and intentions with your highest values. In doing so, it transforms not only your relationship with overthinking, but also your experience of life itself. The path teaches that clarity and peace are not destinations to be reached, but practices to be embodied, moment by moment. As you walk this path, you discover that the mind, once restless and overburdened, can become a source of stillness, wisdom, and joy. As the Eightfold Path offers a framework for clarity, it also reveals something profound about the nature of the mind. Much of its turbulence stems from craving and desire. These forces pull the mind in countless directions, creating tension and fueling the very overthinking that disturbs inner peace. When we peel back the layers of restlessness, we often find desire at its root, whether it's the desire for control, certainty, or validation. Buddhist teachings uncover how this endless craving keeps the mind in a loop of dissatisfaction, while also offering a path to freedom from its grasp. Overthinking thrives on craving because the mind fixates on outcomes, possessions, or ideas it feels will complete or satisfy it. Desire tells you that fulfillment lies just beyond the horizon, in the next achievement or the resolution of the next problem. This constant longing traps you in a cycle of chasing something that never truly arrives. Instead of enjoying what is present, the mind becomes consumed with what it lacks, creating a fertile ground for worry and analysis to spiral out of control. Craving operates on the illusion that obtaining what you want will lead to lasting happiness. Whether it's the perfect relationship, a career milestone, or even external approval, the mind latches onto the idea that these things will fill an internal void. However, as Buddhism teaches, craving is insatiable. Achieving one desire often leads to the birth of another, perpetuating a cycle of yearning. This endless loop is one of the primary sources of suffering, as it binds you to a mental state of restlessness and dissatisfaction. Buddhist teachings on impermanence provide a profound antidote to this cycle. When you truly understand that everything is transient, emotions, possessions, and even achievements, you begin to see the futility of clinging to desires as a source of happiness. This doesn't mean giving up on goals or aspirations, but approaching them with a sense of detachment. Instead of craving specific outcomes, you learn to engage with the process, finding joy and meaning in the present moment, rather than postponing fulfillment until a future point that may never arrive. Mindfulness reveals how craving manifests in your daily thoughts. Pay attention to how often your mind drifts toward wanting things to be different, wanting more, or wanting to avoid discomfort. This awareness is not about judging these tendencies, but about recognizing how they fuel overthinking. For example, a desire for approval might lead you to overanalyze conversations, replaying them in your mind to ensure you said the right things. When you notice this pattern, you can pause and gently redirect your attention to the present, breaking the mental loop. Letting go of desire does not mean apathy or indifference. It means releasing the attachment to specific outcomes while fully engaging with life. This balance, often described as the middle way, allows you to pursue goals and relationships with care and effort, but without the weight of craving. When you are no longer fixated on obtaining or controlling, the mind becomes lighter and more focused, reducing the mental chatter that comes from constantly seeking. The practice of non-attachment, central to Buddhist teachings, offers a way to navigate life without being dominated by desire. Non-attachment doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. It means engaging with it fully, without clinging. For instance, you can work toward a promotion with dedication, but if it doesn't materialize, your sense of self-worth remains intact. This mindset reduces the fear of failure and the anxiety that comes from attaching your identity to external markers of success. Compassion is another key to addressing the role of desire in overthinking. Craving often stems from a place of self-centeredness, where the focus is on what you lack or need. Compassion expands your perspective, shifting the focus from yourself to the well-being of others. When you act from a place of compassion, your desires become less about acquiring and more about giving. This shift in intention quiets the mind, replacing restless yearning with a sense of purpose and connection. Gratitude also counters the effects of craving. When you focus on what you already have, the pull of desire weakens. Overthinking often thrives in a mental environment of scarcity, where the mind fixates on what's missing. Gratitude shifts this focus to abundance, reminding you of the richness of your current experience. This perspective reduces the urgency of craving and the mental noise it creates, fostering a sense of peace and contentment. Meditation deepens your understanding of how craving fuels overthinking. In meditation, you may notice how often your mind drifts toward desires, whether it's replaying past regrets or planning future achievements. By simply observing these thoughts without attaching to them, you train your mind to let go. Over time, this practice reduces the grip of craving, creating space for clarity and stillness. Meditation teaches you that you don't need to chase every thought or desire that arises. Instead, you can let them pass like clouds in the sky. Craving often disguises itself as a need for control. The mind convinces you that if you can just manage every detail, you'll find peace. But this need for control is an illusion, as life's unpredictability cannot be tamed. Accepting this truth liberates you from the exhausting mental effort of trying to control the uncontrollable. When you release this need, you free yourself from the overthinking that stems from trying to anticipate and manipulate every outcome. The teachings on the Four Noble Truths illuminate how craving underpins much of human suffering. The first truth acknowledges the presence of suffering, while the second identifies craving as its root cause. The third truth offers hope by showing that liberation from this suffering is possible, and the fourth provides the Eightfold Path as a guide. Together, these teachings remind you that the cycle of craving and overthinking is not inevitable. It can be broken through mindful awareness and intentional action. Self-compassion plays a vital role in this process. Craving often arises from a sense of lack or unworthiness, where the mind believes it needs something external to feel complete. Self-compassion reminds you that you're already enough, just as you are. This inner affirmation reduces the power of craving and the mental loops it creates, allowing you to approach life with a sense of wholeness and ease. Living simply is another way to address the connection between overthinking and desire. The more you accumulate, whether it's possessions, ambitions, or expectations, the more mental energy is required to maintain and protect them. Simplicity reduces this burden, creating a mental space where clarity and peace can flourish. By focusing on what truly matters, you reduce the distractions that fuel overthinking, allowing your mind to settle into a state of calm. The Buddhist concept of right effort is particularly relevant in this context. It teaches you to direct your energy toward thoughts and actions that align with your values and well-being, rather than wasting it on craving and overthinking. This principle encourages you to cultivate positive mental states while letting go of those that lead to dissatisfaction. Right effort transforms the mind from a source of restlessness to a tool for growth and peace. As you integrate these practices, you begin to see that craving is not an enemy, but a teacher. It reveals where your attachments lie and where growth is needed. By approaching it with mindfulness, compassion, and the tools offered by Buddhist teachings, you transform the energy of craving into a source of insight and strength. This transformation quiets the overthinking mind, allowing you to live with greater clarity, balance, and joy. As the exploration of craving and its impact on the mind concludes, a deeper understanding emerges. The mind, while often restless and tethered to desires, holds immense potential for clarity and transformation. To harness this potential, one needs tools that allow for reflection and organization of thoughts, tools that quiet the chaos and bring focus. Among these, journaling stands as a timeless practice, a bridge between the noise within and the clarity we seek. It offers a safe space to unravel tangled thoughts, confront inner conflicts, and foster mindful awareness. Journaling begins with the simple act of acknowledging what's on your mind. Overthinking often feels overwhelming because thoughts seem endless, swirling in circles without resolution. Writing them down creates a sense of order, turning abstract worries into concrete words. This act of externalizing your thoughts gives you the distance needed to examine them objectively, reducing their emotional weight and making them easier to process. The power of journaling lies in its ability to slow the mind. Overthinking often thrives on speed, with one thought leading to another in rapid succession. Writing, however, requires intention and focus. As you put pen to paper or type each word, you naturally pause, creating gaps between thoughts. These moments of stillness allow you to see patterns and connections that might otherwise go unnoticed, offering clarity where there was once confusion. Mindful journaling transforms the practice into more than just a recounting of events. It encourages you to write with presence, paying attention not only to what you're expressing, but also to how it feels. This awareness deepens your understanding of your inner world, revealing the emotions and beliefs driving your thoughts. For example, a recurring worry might stem from a fear of failure or a desire for validation. Recognizing these underlying themes is the first step toward addressing them constructively. A journal also serves as a mirror, reflecting your growth over time. By revisiting past entries, you can trace the evolution of your thoughts, noticing how certain worries have faded or how you've developed new perspectives. This retrospective view reinforces the transient nature of thoughts and emotions, reminding you that even the most intense overthinking is not permanent. It also builds confidence in your ability to navigate challenges as you see evidence of your resilience and progress. Journaling fosters self-compassion by creating a judgment-free space for your thoughts. Overthinking often involves harsh self-criticism, where you replay mistakes or anticipate negative outcomes. A journal allows you to express these thoughts without fear of judgment, creating a space where you can process them without amplifying their intensity. Writing about your struggles with kindness and understanding can soften the inner critic, replacing self-judgment with self-support. The act of writing also enhances problem-solving. When thoughts remain in your mind, they can feel overwhelming and unmanageable. Writing them down breaks them into smaller, more manageable pieces, allowing you to approach challenges with clarity. For example, journaling about a difficult decision might reveal specific fears or uncertainties you hadn't identified before. Once these elements are clear, you can address them individually, reducing the mental burden and creating a path forward. Gratitude journaling is a specific practice that shifts your focus from overthinking to appreciation. By listing things you're thankful for, you redirect your attention away from what's wrong or uncertain. This practice not only quiets the overactive mind, but also cultivates a sense of abundance and contentment. Over time, it trains your mind to naturally notice and value the positive aspects of your life, reducing the tendency to dwell on negativity. Journaling can also be a tool for reframing negative thoughts. Writing allows you to challenge unhelpful beliefs and replace them with more constructive perspectives. For instance, if you're overthinking a perceived failure, you can use your journal to explore what you've learned from the experience and how it might contribute to future growth. This reframing process reduces the emotional charge of negative thoughts, helping you move forward with greater confidence and clarity. Visualization through journaling is another powerful technique. Instead of simply writing about what worries you, you can describe how you would like to feel or the outcomes you hope to achieve. By focusing on positive possibilities, you train your mind to shift from anxiety-driven overthinking to solution-oriented thinking. This practice reinforces a sense of agency and optimism, empowering you to approach challenges with a constructive mindset. Journaling also creates a sense of routine and stability. Overthinking often arises during moments of uncertainty or change when the mind seeks control. Establishing a regular journaling practice provides a grounding ritual, offering a sense of consistency amidst life's unpredictability. This routine becomes a touchstone, a reliable space where you can process your thoughts and regain balance. Expressive writing, a form of journaling that focuses on emotions, can be particularly effective for processing difficult experiences. By writing about how you feel, you release pent-up emotions that might otherwise fuel overthinking. This release not only lightens your mental load, but also helps you gain clarity about your emotional responses, enabling you to address them in a healthy and mindful way. The physical act of journaling, whether through writing by hand or typing, also engages your senses, creating a tactile connection to your thoughts. This sensory engagement helps anchor you in the present moment, reducing the tendency for your mind to wander into past regrets or future worries. It transforms journaling into a mindfulness practice, where each word written becomes an opportunity to center yourself and reconnect with the here and now. A journal can also serve as a space for setting intentions. Overthinking often focuses on what could go wrong, creating a sense of helplessness. By using your journal to articulate your intentions and the steps you can take toward them, you shift your focus from worry to action. This intentional approach fosters a sense of empowerment, reminding you that you have the ability to influence your circumstances. Journaling fosters self-awareness by helping you identify triggers and patterns in your overthinking. For example, you might notice that certain situations consistently lead to spiraling thoughts, or that specific beliefs underlie your worries. This awareness allows you to address these triggers proactively, whether through mindfulness, reframing, or other strategies. It equips you with the tools to interrupt the cycle of overthinking before it takes hold. The flexibility of journaling makes it a versatile tool for thought management. Whether you prefer structured prompts, free writing, or guided reflections, the practice can be tailored to meet your needs. This adaptability ensures that journaling remains a supportive and accessible tool, regardless of where you are on your journey toward mental clarity. As you continue to engage with your journal, you may notice a gradual shift in your relationship with your thoughts. What once felt overwhelming or chaotic becomes more manageable and clear. The practice of journaling transforms the act of thinking into a mindful exploration, turning overthinking into a pathway for growth and understanding. Through this simple yet profound practice, you create a mental space where clarity, peace, and self-awareness can flourish. Journaling fosters self-awareness and clarity, providing a pathway to disentangle thoughts and confront inner conflicts. But even with this clarity, the mind often craves a deeper sense of warmth and connection, especially when dealing with the relentless currents of self-criticism and emotional turbulence. This is where loving kindness meditation, or metta, becomes transformative. Rooted in compassion, this practice extends kindness to yourself and others, soothing agitation and fostering a profound inner calm that transcends fleeting emotions. Loving kindness. Meditation begins with cultivating kindness toward yourself. Often the mind is harshest when it turns inward, replaying mistakes, regrets, or perceived shortcomings. By intentionally repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I live with ease," you plant seeds of compassion within your mind. This practice isn't about convincing yourself of something false, but about creating an environment where self-acceptance can grow. As these affirmations take root, they soften the inner critic, replacing harsh judgments with a gentler understanding of your imperfections. Extending compassion to yourself has a ripple effect. When you are kind to yourself, your capacity for understanding and patience grows, allowing you to navigate life's challenges without being overwhelmed. Overthinking often stems from an internal struggle, an inability to reconcile your actions with your expectations. Loving kindness. Meditation dissolves this struggle by encouraging you to approach yourself with the same care you would offer a close friend. This shift not only reduces mental agitation, but also creates a foundation for authentic peace. As the practice deepens, the circle of compassion expands outward. From self-compassion, you extend kindness to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those with whom you have conflict. Repeating phrases such as, "May they be happy," "May they be free from suffering," helps dissolve feelings of anger or resentment. These emotions, if left unchecked, often fuel overthinking, as the mind replays grievances or anticipates future confrontations. Loving kindness. Meditation interrupts this cycle, replacing resentment with a sense of connection and understanding. Focusing on others during metta practice also redirects the mind from self-centered worries. Overthinking often narrows your perspective, creating a loop of concerns about your own experiences. When you shift your focus to the well-being of others, you step outside this loop, seeing the world through a broader lens. This outward focus reduces the intensity of your mental chatter, reminding you of the shared nature of human challenges and the interconnectedness of all beings. The physical effects of loving-kindness meditation are equally profound. Studies have shown that regular metta practice can lower stress levels, reduce symptoms of anxiety, and even improve heart health. These benefits arise because the practice activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling the body to relax and release tension. This physical relaxation complements the mental calm that metta fosters, creating a holistic sense of well-being that counters the strain of overthinking. Metta meditation also reshapes your relationship with difficult emotions. Feelings of anger, jealousy, or frustration often amplify mental agitation, pulling you into cycles of overthinking. Loving kindness. Meditation doesn't suppress these emotions, but transforms them. By extending compassion to yourself and others, you shift the emotional energy from conflict to connection, allowing difficult feelings to dissolve naturally. This transformation creates a sense of emotional resilience, helping you face life's challenges with greater ease. One of the most transformative aspects of metta is its ability to foster forgiveness. Holding on to past grievances often fuels overthinking, as the mind replays scenarios in search of resolution. Loving kindness. Meditation encourages you to release this burden, offering forgiveness not only to others, but also to yourself. This act of letting go doesn't erase the past, but changes your relationship with it, freeing your mind from the weight of unresolved conflicts and creating space for peace. The simplicity of metta practice makes it accessible to anyone, regardless of experience with meditation. Whether sitting in silence or repeating phrases during a daily walk, the practice invites you to connect with your innate capacity for kindness. This accessibility ensures that metta can become a consistent part of your routine, offering a reliable tool for calming the mind and fostering inner harmony. Loving kindness. Meditation also deepens your understanding of impermanence. By focusing on the shared experiences of joy and suffering among all beings, you recognize the transient nature of emotions and situations. This understanding reduces the tendency to cling to specific outcomes or grievances, allowing you to approach life with greater flexibility and acceptance. The more you embrace this perspective, the quieter your mind becomes, as the need to control or resist fades. Metta fosters a profound sense of gratitude. As you extend kindness to others, you become more aware of the kindness you've received in return. This awareness shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in your life. Gratitude and overthinking cannot coexist. As one grows, the other naturally diminishes. Loving kindness. Meditation, therefore, becomes a practice not only of compassion, but also of appreciation, grounding you in the richness of the present moment. The practice also encourages humility. By recognizing the shared struggles and joys of all beings, you dissolve the barriers that create a sense of isolation or superiority. Overthinking often thrives in isolation, as the mind becomes consumed with its own concerns. Metta reconnects you with the human experience, reminding you that you are part of something larger. This sense of connection quiets the mind, fostering a sense of belonging and inner peace. As you continue practicing loving-kindness meditation, you may notice subtle shifts in your interactions with others. Compassion becomes not just a practice, but a way of being, influencing how you respond to challenges and conflicts. This shift reduces the mental friction that often arises in relationships, replacing it with a sense of ease and understanding. Over time, this creates a positive feedback loop, where peaceful interactions reinforce the inner calm cultivated through metta. Loving kindness. Meditation also nurtures patience. Overthinking often stems from impatience, as the mind seeks immediate answers or resolution. Metta teaches you to approach yourself and others with gentle persistence, recognizing that growth and healing take time. This patience extends to your thoughts, allowing you to sit with discomfort without feeling the need to fix or escape it. This willingness to be present with what is creates a profound sense of mental stillness. The benefits of metta are not confined to your personal experience. They ripple outward, influencing the world around you. As you cultivate compassion within, you contribute to a more compassionate external environment. This doesn't mean solving every problem or healing every wound, but creating moments of kindness that inspire others to do the same. These moments, though small, have a cumulative effect, fostering a sense of collective peace that quiets the noise of overthinking and conflict. Through loving kindness meditation, you discover that compassion is not a finite resource, but a boundless wellspring. The more you give, the more you receive, and the quieter your mind becomes. This practice transforms the way you relate to yourself, others, and the world, replacing mental agitation with a sense of harmony and balance. In extending kindness, you not only calm your own mind, but also contribute to the greater good, creating a ripple effect of peace that begins within and extends far beyond. The calm, cultivated through loving-kindness meditation, reveals an undeniable truth. Peace emerges not from controlling life, but from accepting it. This shift in mindset doesn't mean passivity or resignation. Instead, it invites you to embrace the world and yourself as they are, flawed, unpredictable, and beautifully human. Acceptance is not about giving up. It's about letting go of resistance, the invisible force that often fuels overthinking and emotional turmoil. Through acceptance, you find the courage to release the struggle against reality, replacing tension with profound ease. At the heart of overthinking lies a refusal to accept what is. The mind tries to rewrite the past, control the future, or resist the present, creating an endless cycle of frustration and dissatisfaction. Acceptance disrupts this cycle by encouraging you to meet life as it unfolds, without clinging to what could have been or should be. This approach softens the rigid boundaries of expectation, allowing you to experience life with openness and curiosity. Accepting yourself is a profound starting point. Overthinking often arises from self-doubt or an internal struggle to meet perceived standards of perfection. When you accept yourself fully, you let go of the need to prove your worth or validate your existence. This doesn't mean ignoring areas for growth, but approaching them with compassion rather than judgment. Self-acceptance creates a stable foundation, quieting the inner critic and fostering a sense of inner peace. Acceptance doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is fine. Instead, it invites you to confront reality with honesty and courage. When you accept a difficult situation, you free yourself from the mental battle of wishing it away. This clarity allows you to see options and solutions that might have been obscured by resistance. Acceptance becomes a form of empowerment, helping you respond to life's difficulties with grace and wisdom. Resistance to reality often stems from fear, the fear of discomfort, loss, or uncertainty. Acceptance neutralizes this fear by showing you that discomfort is not permanent and uncertainty is not inherently negative. By leaning into these experiences rather than avoiding them, you develop resilience and trust in your ability to navigate life's unpredictability. This trust quiets the restless mind, replacing anxiety with a sense of calm readiness. When you accept the world as it is, you release the illusion of control. Overthinking often stems from the mind's attempt to predict and manage every detail of life. While planning and preparation have their place, clinging to control creates unnecessary tension. Acceptance teaches you to engage with what you can influence while releasing what lies beyond your reach. This balance reduces the mental strain of overanalyzing and fosters a more fluid relationship with life. Acceptance is not static. It's a dynamic practice that evolves with each moment. It asks you to continually meet life with a willingness to adapt and adjust. This flexibility counters the rigidity of overthinking, which often tries to impose fixed solutions on ever-changing circumstances. By staying open and adaptable, you create space for creativity and insight to emerge naturally. Embracing acceptance also strengthens your relationships. Overthinking often arises in interactions with others as the mind analyzes conversations, anticipates reactions, or dwells on misunderstandings. Acceptance encourages you to meet people as they are, without trying to change or control them. This shift fosters genuine connection, reducing the mental chatter that comes from unrealistic expectations or unspoken frustrations. Gratitude and acceptance are deeply intertwined. When you focus on what is good and present in your life, you naturally cultivate acceptance of your current circumstances. Gratitude redirects your attention from what's lacking to what's abundant, creating a mental environment where acceptance can flourish. This perspective doesn't dismiss challenges, but balances them with an appreciation for life's gifts. The practice of acceptance is closely linked to mindfulness. By staying present with your thoughts and emotions, you learn to observe them without judgment or resistance. This awareness reveals the transient nature of your experiences, helping you see that even intense feelings or thoughts will pass. This insight reduces the urgency of overthinking, replacing it with a calm acceptance of the flow of life. Letting go of the need for certainty is a key aspect of acceptance. Overthinking often thrives on the mind's desire for guaranteed outcomes, creating a cycle of worry and analysis. Acceptance reminds you that life's unpredictability is not something to fear, but to embrace. When you release the need to know or control everything, you free your mind from the weight of unnecessary concerns. Acceptance also involves acknowledging your limitations. Overthinking often arises when the mind tries to solve problems beyond its capacity or control. Recognizing your limits is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. It allows you to focus your energy on what truly matters, reducing the mental clutter that comes from overextending yourself. This clarity fosters a sense of peace and self-compassion. The physical practice of acceptance can be as simple as connecting with your breath. Each inhale and exhale is a reminder of life's rhythm, a cycle of taking in and letting go. By focusing on your breath, you ground yourself in the present moment, creating a sense of calm that anchors you amidst life's uncertainties. This practice reinforces the idea that acceptance is not passive, but an active engagement with reality. When you accept yourself and the world, you create a foundation for contentment. Overthinking often arises from a sense of lack or incompleteness, as the mind searches for something external to fill an internal void. Acceptance reveals that contentment is not found in acquiring more, but in appreciating what is already present. This shift in perspective quiets the restless mind, allowing you to experience life with a sense of fulfillment. Acceptance also nurtures forgiveness, both for yourself and others. Holding on to past grievances or mistakes fuels overthinking, as the mind replays scenarios in search of resolution. Forgiveness releases this burden, allowing you to move forward without the weight of resentment or regret. This release creates mental space for peace and clarity to take root. As you deepen your practice of acceptance, you may notice a sense of freedom emerging. The constraints of expectation and resistance begin to fade, replaced by a lightness that comes from aligning with life as it is. This freedom is not about escaping challenges, but embracing them with a mindset of openness and curiosity. It transforms overthinking into a pathway for growth and self-discovery. The joy of letting be is not confined to grand gestures or profound realizations. It is found in the small moments of presence, the quiet acceptance of a fleeting thought, or the gentle release of a worry. These moments, though subtle, accumulate into a profound shift in how you experience life. They reveal that peace is not something you chase, but something you allow, not a destination, but a way of being. Through acceptance, you learn that life's imperfections are not obstacles, but opportunities to grow. The world does not need to be perfect for you to find joy, and you do not need to be flawless to be at peace. This realization dissolves the need for overthinking, replacing it with a sense of trust and ease. Acceptance becomes a source of strength, guiding you toward a life of clarity, balance, and unshakable calm. Overthinking can feel like a storm that refuses to pass, but as we've explored, the path to inner peace is not about battling the storm. It's about stepping back and finding stillness within it. From understanding the monkey mind to practicing mindfulness, embracing gratitude, and cultivating compassion, Buddhism offers timeless tools to help quiet the noise and rediscover the present moment. The journey toward peace begins with accepting yourself and the world as they are, releasing attachments to outcomes and letting go of what no longer serves you. Each step builds clarity, each breath brings calm, and each practice lights the way to a life lived with purpose and serenity. Now, it's your turn. What part of this journey resonates most with you? Is it learning to let go, practicing mindfulness, or perhaps embracing gratitude? Share your thoughts or your favorite lesson in the comments below. We'd love to hear how these teachings speak to you. If this video brought value to your life, Subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey of growth, clarity, and peace. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll never miss out on new insights. Together, we'll continue exploring ways to live with greater calm and purpose. Thank you for being part of this path to inner peace.